Hello Internet, welcome back to the Fast Travel Lounge. You're listening to episode 107. I am Patrick and I'm joined by Saif, say hi.
Yeah, hello.
And Steve, say hi.
Meowdy.
Oh, okay, you
That's
have to explain
one.
that one, Steve. Yeah, that is a new one. What happened?
Well, so what I've done is I've done a bit of a portmanteau, so I've
You wonder who
combined two
asked?
words together. You guys did.
We didn't actually, we just said that's a new one.
So what I've done is I've combined meow, which is what a cat does, and howdy, which is what a cowboy does. So I've made a cat boy, which is me, and it's meowdy.
That's
So
gonna
you're
get
a
us
furry.
letters.
That's not what I said. Well, anyway, so let's go around the lounge today. What are you
Yeah,
up to?
but the things that I said, I have something that I want to share with you all, but it doesn't really fall under Around the Lounge for this week, so I'm going to bring it up now. Don't worry, Seth, it's not me accidentally reviewing an entire mobile game.
I mean, I was fine with that. I don't know if the audience was.
It was a bad taste in my mouth, I tell you what. So everyone knows that I bought a ROG, an Asus ROG Ally Pride Month, whoop whoop. And I bought that because my
Low
computer
point.
died back in like September or something. Somewhere in the CPU, somewhere in the motherboard, something died.
All right.
Decided actually probably cheaper to just get a ROG Ally, given how much I use a machine like that. Don't really need the desktop anymore. So I don't know if you guys know about the ROG Ally and its launch, but it has a micro SD slot. This micro SD slot is positioned, what some would say, rather close to the external fans that cool
Oh, I can see where
the
this
device.
is going.
I don't see where this is
Yeah.
going. Keep going.
Yeah, so because I almost exclusively play with it plugged in and plugged into a monitor, like plugged into the wall and plugged into a monitor.
Wait, so you played like docks, you mean?
Yeah.
Ah, cool.
Exactly
Right on.
like
The
docked.
Switch.
Yeah. Exactly like my Switch, yeah. Without sound.
What do you mean you don't play with it? We've had it. Yeah, I'm gonna, whatever.
Yeah,
just
we
wrapping
have.
up.
We have.
For the
And
sake
so-
of clarity, you should tell people again why you have no sound.
Because I am deaf. It's a modern miracle that I'm able to understand when you stop talking. I think it's by me reading your succulent lips.
What?
Yeah, I just I like to do something in the background, which normally involves watching something or listening to something, and usually I'm playing a game that I don't need to like tune into. So, for example, played a bunch of Deep Rock Galactic on the ROG, and I don't really need sound for that, and I don't play on a high enough difficulty where the sound is that important. And otherwise, it's something like Monster Hunter, where I've just played the game for so many hours that the sound is kind of irrelevant. Although, funny side point tangent. Didn't think I'd get to talk about Monster Hunter in a topical way this week after that streamer tried to do an Elatreon run blindfolded and then had like several thousand videos calling her out for cheating the blindfolded run.
How are they cheating? I heard about the blindfolded run. I didn't realize they were cheating.
So she did a blindfolded Elatreon run, but she was doing shit like adjusting the camera, which you don't. I'm not saying you don't need to do when you're blindfolded, but she was doing it in such a precise way that seems weird to do if you are blindfolded.
Yeah, why would you need to adjust the camera? You're not even looking at him. Yeah, okay, I see. Yeah.
Well, no, I mean, like, you can be used to fighting Elatreon with it in front of you. Like, that's fine. Like, that might just be a distance thing. But it's like...
But if you do like 5 micro movements in the span of 10 seconds, then...
It's more that kind of thing. It's like, Carl Jobst, or Jobst, I think it's Jobs, actually. Shout out, hopefully we get a shout out back, Carl. Had a good video on it, talking about how she, just by force of habit, goes to the quick select menu, and then actually, this is getting horribly off topic from the ROG, but I just want to finish this bit first because it's funny. She uses the quick select menu, which you use with the right analog stick, and what can happen, because I've done this too, is that depending on the order of the buttons that you release it in, if you're still holding the right analog stick and you let go of the quick select, it'll like your right stick will resume camera operation, and so it'll just pitch the camera awkwardly. And normally it's like a tiny thing, so you just correct it. But when you're blindfolded, it's real obvious if you correct the pitch of the camera, like the up-down movement of the camera. Because if you're blindfolded, it's like, okay, I can figure out where Elatreon is left and right, but Elatreon's kind of large enough, it's sort of hard to figure out if he's above or below you because he's just in front of you. Anyway, so she's been called out for it, and then she was like, no, I didn't cheat, see? And then did another blindfolded stream, and then everyone was like, hey, but you did it basically the same thing as before, but with like a different blindfold. Can you just prove that you're not cheating? And then she banned everyone, and she was like, yeah, well, I'll do it on February 29th, fuck you. So we'll wait and see. Anyway, to get back to the ROG thing. So the internal storage is, this is going to test me. I probably should look this up before. I think it's either 256 or 512 internal. And so when I got the ROG, was like, hey, 512 SD cards or micro SD cards are getting relatively cheap for how good they are. I'll pick one of those up. And so I play on turbo, like speed setting, because I play it docked. I don't care about the battery usage, which this funny little thing happens in a ROG where it just cooks the SD card when you're playing on turbo. And so Asus was like, hey, we noticed that this can happen in some situations. Don't worry, we'll fix it with software. And so I took it back to where I bought it, and I was like, hey, it fried your micro SD. And they were like, yes, but Asus told us that as long as you patch and update everything, everything will be golden. Here's a new micro SD card. Good luck, Godspeed, gamer. And I was like, thank you, sir, because it was actually a very seamless process to replace the micro SD. Took it home, didn't really think much of it.
And you cooked a second one?
Haven't been able to use it. Yeah, haven't been able to use it that much. This is all going to wrap around. We're finally getting back to where this all ties in. There is a game which I didn't know much about, but looked very interesting, called The Last Epoch. Sorry, it might just be Last Epoch, which was I think it was a crowdfunded game, so I assume Kickstarter. Started development in 2019-ish, and is a bunch of ARPG fans, so they're kind of going for this sort of Diablo-y type angle. YouTube was like, here is a dev diary talking about 1.0, which comes out this week. And I'm like, yo, this game actually looks really, really good. And so I went and bought it on Steam after seeing everyone reviewing it, talking about how amazing it's been in early access and how they're all looking forward to playing 1.0. And I'm not a massive fan of Diablo. I just haven't really played it that much to like be a fan, but I like the odd ARPG, especially with friends. Played quite a bit of Trine 2 back in the day. And so I bought it, and I was like, ooh, 20 gigs. My internal storage is full of Monster Hunter and porn. That was a joke.
No, it's not full of Monster Hunter at all.
Yeah.
You hate Monster Hunter.
And so I was like,
the joke is that it's actually one sentence, not two different categories.
Yeah. I'm 6 feet and 6 inches. That's 2 measurements. Fuck, the joke is 2 inches. Whoops. So I was like, I'll install it to the micro SD, and the ROG is like, hey boss, I don't know how to tell you this. I can't write anything to D drive. And I'm like, ooh, that's not good. Turns out it's cooked a second micro SD card.
Ugh.
So it's installed on internal storage now. I haven't played it yet. I'm kind of looking forward to playing it, but it's also like, I'm going to have to take it back to where I bought it, and they're probably going to send it away to Asus, and that'll probably take months. So, I'm going to be out of a way to play PC games for a bit, because, like, yeah, on one hand, I could just use the internal storage and life moves on, but I paid for a thing that has micro SD card expansion, and it has worked fine for like the 2 hours that I tried using it after it got repaired, in air quotes, last time. So for it to do this again, it's just like, yeah, something's just not right. And it would probably be solved by reformatting it, but just using it is just not smooth. Like it'll just sit there and be like, I'm gonna launch Steam, and it'll be like, okay, and then nothing will happen. Like that kind of thing. It's just like, it's just hard. It's just so much harder than it should be to just boot Steam on what's effectively a tablet with a graphics card. So that's a whole big roundabout way of saying that I would have had a Round the Lounge segment about Last Epoch, possibly for next episode, but unfortunately, that's unlikely to happen. Just because I might not even have an Asus ROG Ally soon, or at least won't have one that I can use. Whether they repair it and send it back, who knows? It's all under warranty. But yeah, so that's my roundabout technology story, because I know that we love having those every episode. Thoughts, feelings, trials, tribulations.
Grim, number one.
Yeah,
I get the feeling that look, I hate to say I told you so, because I didn't. I think that...
Yeah, because you didn't.
Yeah, so I just said that. Just thanks for clarifying, in case somebody just stopped paying attention. So, we got a problem, buddy?
Next thing you know, Steven's going to tell you should have bought an Xbox.
Well, man, with cloud gaming everywhere, man, you have your phone and you got it. But no, realistically, I was going to say, like, it's kind of a bit of what I've been hearing around about people that have bought the ROG Ally instead of the Steam Decks. Like, it's a lot of like, this isn't as good as what I thought it was going to be. But like the Steam Deck,
that's the most frustrating part. Is like I kind of just want to take it back and be like, hey, can I just take my money back and go buy a Steam Deck? Like I thought about doing initially.
Realistically, it's probably this is what the second SD card that's tried. Like, what are you going to do? Wait until the third time and you shit more out of luck? Like, it just seems like awkward at this stage. And if it's failed on you twice, like it's a design flaw. Those shouldn't happen, but they do. But it's impacted you twice.
It should be pretty obvious not to place something easily meltable next to the exhaust fan.
Well, I mean, what are you going to do? What are you going to do?
Get your money back. Buy a Steam Deck.
Asus ROG Ally 2 with the SD card slot moved somewhere else.
Or just remove the SD card slot. You don't need an SD card.
Yeah, you have to eat the SD card. Eat
the SD card.
I'm becoming more and more of the opinion that I probably could just fork out the difference for a Steam, because like, let's be real, a ROG Ally is cheaper than a Steam Deck. Like that's a given, especially the Steam Deck OLED. So I got mine in Cyber Monday sales. So
you did too, yeah.
Yeah, so it was a bit cheaper for me. So it would, assuming that I'm buying an OLED full price, which I'd have to be because they don't sell them. It's New Zealand's one of those weird. I think they sell them properly in Australia now, but still don't sell them in New Zealand.
Don't.
Oh, they still don't?
I think they've just started.
No, we have Big W is selling them, but they're like being a middleman for middleman
so
websites.
It's still parallel import. Yeah, okay.
Grey market bullshit. They shouldn't be, if it's a retailer, it shouldn't be fucking grey market imports. Get fucked.
Yeah, so assuming that I can't...
Gabe Newen on the podcast.
Assuming that I can't get an OLED on sale, it would be a price difference of about 600 for me, which I guess is maybe, 300 American? Roughly, actually, I have no idea what the exchange rate is anymore, but like... Not like backbreaking because I've already sunk the cost of the ROG, but like that's also about half the cost of the ROG again to upgrade to the Steam Deck. And the other thing is that Steam Deck running Proton OS or whatever their software is, the main things that I wanted ROG Ally for were playing existing Steam games like Monster Hunter, say. And I've heard mixed things about Monster Hunter support on Steam Deck.
It was okay until Capcom fucked it up recently, where they added like a new layer of DRM onto the Monster Hunter games and it broke Steam Deck support.
Awesome, love that for me. So anyway, that's my prisoner's dilemma of what I'm going to do about it. But yeah, no, I'm
having a quick sticky peek online, and it looks like you can get like and this is Australian buckaroonies as well. So your New Zealand sheep wool probably doesn't. Yeah, I'm a grim. I've got like
a monopoly money.
Yeah, so it looks like you can get a Asus ROG Ally for about 1,300, or the Steam Deck OLED for 1,200. It is only 512 gig internal storage. It looks like.
That's crazy. I swear OLED started at like 1,500-1,600 in NZ.
It might be that in NZ, but like at the same time, it looks like it still might be cheaper. Like the ROG Ally, maybe the Cyber Monday sales might have saved you like a bit more than what I'm anticipating. But yeah, maybe look at other. There are other handhelds that just started coming out.
There's like a Lenovo one or something as well.
Yeah, the Legion Go, I believe it is.
Yeah, and it's basically like a PC Switch, and everyone said it's like. I've heard some people say it's amazing, and other people say it's god awful. Stay away. So
apparently it's one of those things that's really good if you want like a hybrid PC thing.
Yes.
Like you plug it into the dock and it will like, you can open Word and do Excel spreadsheets and whatever.
Yeah.
Or you can sort of like play games or pick it up and use it as a Switch. So it is kind of a hybrid thing. Doing a quick Google on that though, that is 1,500 Australian dollar dues. So yeah, I don't know. It's
my guess is that my guess is that if I'm going to replace it, I'm going to go to a Steam Deck. I'm not going to take the chances with another Windows like semi PC fa bullshit.
I am looking at the Legion Go, and something I did forget about it is it's got Joy-Cons.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, it's basically a PC Switch.
Yeah, I didn't realize it had the fucking Joy-Cons. It really looks like we've got a Switch at home, but more expensive.
We've got a Switch from Lenovo or wherever it's from.
Like the Razer Switch. Imagine if a Razer made one of these.
I think Razer is actually in the market of making one of these.
Well, they had like a proof of concept streaming like pod thing, which we talked about actually like 2 years ago. It was one of those. It's like a little base station that you set up in your house, and it streams to it, and then you use a device to connect to it. Remember that?
It was
thing?
like a Google Home Mini type of thing.
So,
That's
yeah,
right.
exactly that sort of thing. It was proof of concept.
Yeah.
It never. I don't think it's ever made it to market, but Razer was talking about like this could be the direction that we go, and Microsoft went hold my beer. So yeah,
What about
we'll wait and see.
Does Alienware have anything yet? Surely they've got
Never
something.
get anything Alienware. God awful products.
Did you mean
overpriced.
Dell with funny mascot?
Steven, I got all my Alienware products for free, in quotation marks, because it cost someone their tax money. All of them broke really fast. The first one I got melted its GPU.
Ah, grim. Yeah.
Well, if you think about it, a GPU is just like a big micro SD card.
It is.
hang on a second. I've just seen an ad for a McDonald's chicken nugget Tetris for $30. It's
What?
Tetris, but it's in the shape of a McDonald's nugget. Oh, it takes me to eBay. Oh, it's no longer available. I'm sorry, everyone.
Wow.
Imagine
Steve
paying
is
for
getting
ads for all your eBay products.
Steve is getting scammed right before our very eyes.
Anybody got a credit card I can borrow? It's a
that's
Tetris, but it's a chicken nugget. Imagine if you could have the Asus ROG Ally, but it's in a chicken nugget shape. Actually, that'd probably be a bad idea. What if you, after a big sweaty day of gaming, just take a bite? Arr.
Imagine that.
Give me that chicken nugget game.
Here I am, just trying to play possibly my new favorite game, Last Epoch, and then I walk back in after it's installing, and I smell the delicious smell of chicken nuggets and go, oh no, it fried another 512 gigabyte micro SD card.
Well, that's your problem. You shouldn't be putting SD cards in there. You should be putting chicken nuggets.
But chicken nuggets. Imagine I take it back to where I bought it, like, hey, it cooked my chicken nugget, but like not the way I like.
It burnt my chicken nugget. It burnt the roof of my mouth. Ah.
I put my hot pocket in the micro SD card slot and it went nuclear. I don't know what to tell you. Anyway, getting horribly off topic as we always do. Also, just because it's topical, want to hit you guys with a quick Steam charts. Don't worry, won't take as long as the preamble. So,
I love Steamcharts.
Palworld has been rather a large hit, and everyone's like, we talked about this last week. Yeah, we know.
I think it was actually 2 weeks ago we talked about it.
Yeah, and then in the intervening period, I don't know if we talked about it, but they've had a 1.3 million, I don't know if it was concurrent or what, but player drop-off, and everyone's like, yeah, well, it's to be expected. It's not designed to be a live service shithouse like half of the other slop that's been pushed recently, which I imagine we'll get into. So, quick Steam charts. I'm looking at Steam charts. I'm looking at top games specifically. I feel like Seth might have seen this because he came to me and said, Patrick, I have a Steam charts today, and I said, fuck you, no you don't. It's my turn. I am the host.
That's not how that went, but sure.
It's what I heard.
There we go. Steve has never lied in his life.
I'm sorry, all I heard was moo.
I'm getting on the host good side today.
Hey, so they are between 200,000 concurrent players and 300,000 concurrent players. Part 1, as of let me just make sure I have the right one. Yeah, based on current players right now, Helldivers 2 versus Palworld, both rather large games, both with record-breaking sort of launches and hype and success, and sticking it to the AAA games industry. Looking at you, quadruple A Ubisoft. Toss out some numbers. So between 2 and 300k. So you can't go too far off the ranch. Looking at you, Steve.
I'm pretty sure Helldivers is past 300k at this point, unless you're talking about recent players and not overall all-time peak.
I'm talking about top games by current players on Steam chart right now. This is not the record. This is just who is currently playing it right now.
Okay, that makes more sense.
Come on, Good Game's a fast game. Already spent 2 minutes on this shit. I got one more question for you afterwards.
280,000 for Helldivers and 210,000 for Palworld.
Okay, now give me the numbers that aren't with you looking them up on another tab.
I didn't look it up. Is that what it is, though? Am I right?
I don't know, are you?
So you said it's between 200 and 300, right?
I did, yes.
I'm going to go around 215k for Palworld and 290 for Helldivers.
Oh, well, Closest without going over was Steve for one and neither for the other.
Ooh.
So currently, Palworld 213,000 players. Which, if you'd said 210,001 players, Saif, I would have high-fived you. Would have been very funny.
Yay, I win.
Helldivers 2, 243,660 players, which is not over the 250k mark, let alone the 280, 290. Second one, given that Helldivers has a greater number of current players, Palworld, absolutely record-setting. I'll give you the peak players. Peak Palworld Steamcharts was 2.1 million set last month. Just absolutely phenomenal. Still can't believe PUBG Battlegrounds got to 3.2 million. Like, what the hell?
Yeah, that was huge.
Yeah.
That was the first Battle Royale, don't forget.
It was. You're right.
It walked so Fortnite could fly.
Don't say that. Epic Games is going to get real jumpy.
That's actually what happened because they built their game on Unreal Engine, and then Epic was like, you know what? We're going to start optimizing the engine for Battle Royales, but we're going to do it for Fortnite first and not tell anyone how to optimize it in their games until Fortnite gets the head start.
What do you mean? Fortnite was initially a single-player co-op action shooter.
Yeah, but then it took off with the Battle Royale.
It did, and then they canned the single-player. Looking at you, Overwatch. Fucked up. Anyway, Palworld, 1.3 million players concurrently as the... Sorry, 2.1. Don't know where I pulled 1.3 from. 2.1 million concurrent players is the record. What was Helldivers 2? Well, what is Helldivers 2?
Wait, did Helldivers 2 beat it?
Did it?
Nah, rats. I don't think it did. I think it was like 1.7. Did I get that? I don't think it got that high. Let's go with 850.
850? There's 240,000 playing right now. You think it capped at 850?
That's as far as I'm gonna go.
All right, so I'm just going to play it safe because I know the answer on this one. 1.
Wow, the price is right. Holy shit, that's the most baller move I've seen Seth make in a long time. Seth wins by what I'm going to call as a technicality. Well played, though.
You looked it up, he's a cheater.
Helldivers 2 was one of the games I was looking up for today's Steam charts when I was going to do it, so I know it's... My actual guess is... I don't remember exactly, but I think it's like 445k-ish.
445 is basically bang on the 24-hour peak, but all-time is 457.
Okay, yep. I wasn't sure if it was 445 or over 450.
But what's crazy to me is that we have an all-time peak of 457, but we have a game that's basically suffering from success, and 240,000 people are playing it at the same time.
Do you want to know a funny statistic about that Helldivers number?
No.
Okay, never mind then.
It doesn't include the PlayStation players, does it?
No, yes, but that's not the funny part. The funny part is that concurrent number is higher than their servers can actually handle.
Yeah, I was going to wonder about that because they had issues at 350 or so.
Yeah, I think they've updated it to be about 400 or 450k, but that's still the peak player count is higher than what they can actually support in game.
I imagine that's because they can have people launch the game and make an internet connection to say that they are playing the game, but not actually be able to play the game. They just get kicked or locked out or what have you.
Yeah, there's more people trying to sign into the game and like actually start up than what's actually playing.
Yeah. Any interest in Helldivers 2 from either of you?
I will admit I'm getting some FOMO out of it because I've seen a lot of clips and it looks super fun.
See, I'm in that camp as well. Everyone's like, "Oh, play Palworld, it's Pokemon with guns." I'm like, okay, I can kind of get the gist of what's happening just based on what people are playing. I haven't looked into how the actual gameplay of Helldivers 2 works, but it also feels like a more sustained hype cycle than Palworld. And of all of the ones that I've had FOMO on from the past few months, this one's getting close to me just pulling the trigger.
It's it's like a cross between Warhammer Vermintide, if you've seen that, and some Left 4 Dead.
Yeah.
And it's full on Starship Troopers with some Terminator thrown in there.
I'm kind of like I said it before, I'll say it again. Video games are a solo experience to me, and I've heard that the solo experience for Helldivers 2 is not bueno. So I'll probably pass on it. I've seen a couple of things. It looks all right. Definitely not my game. But yeah, at the same time, like Palworld was over in like 2 seconds. Like it's not designed to be longer. And pretty much everybody kind of picked it up, played it for like a couple of hours, and was like, okay, I'm done with this.
That's the difference, I think, is that I know so many people who picked it up and played it for let's say a day, let's say 2 days. But a lot of the people that I know that are playing Helldivers 2 are still playing it a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks in. So it's got more staying power, I think.
Yeah. It's nice to sort of see that this kind of double A type of game gets stood up. And like over the Christmas period, there was the finals, whatever it was called, that got really big for a bit.
Funny thing about the finals, the playtest for that has a higher peak player count than the actual release game does.
Ah.
Funny last thing to say about the Steam charts, there was a Skull and Bones ad on it.
The Skull and Bones ad for everything. What's a Skull and Bones? Actually, you know what? Let's do that next time. Because it'll be like a couple weeks. And
there won't be a next time. It'll be negative. Ubisoft will have crashed out as a company, calling it now. The only Skull and Bones will be the Ubisoft logo. Oh, no. Maybe. Thank you. Around the lounge, we are now, like so far into the episode. This is...
Just a short one tonight, right, fellas?
Yeah, exactly.
You're literally the host. You can stop. You can pull the cord whenever you want.
I have all of the power here, and yet I'm still powerless. I'm but a passenger on the crazy rainbow road of life. What have I been up to this week? To be fair,
you're not powerless. You made all of these decisions to go this long.
Let's not blame the victim, okay, Saif?
You're not just a victim. You're the abuser.
No, Pat's right. Let's go to bed. Bye, everyone.
What have I been up to this week? I, after promising it last time, will finally, maybe briefly, we'll see, talk about The Last of Us Part 2, and I keep calling it No Return. It's not No Return, it is... Oh, no, it is No Return. I keep calling it Left Behind. Last of Us Part 2, No Return, the roguelike, because played it a while ago now, and then kept saying I would talk about it, and then forgot it in favor of other better games. And I also saw the Borderlands trailer. I'm excited for that. That's my review of the Borderlands trailer. You heard it here first. What have you been up to, Saif?
Yes, I also watched the Borderlands trailer, and I'll just say, as usual, Jack Black is killing it.
Oh yeah, I need to watch that.
Over the Christmas break, I did my usual thing where I started up a game that's been on my backlog for too long, and this time I hit up Horizon Zero Dawn. Did the DLC for that as well. Have some things to say about that. Some nice, some not so nice. And more recently, I gave it the Kickstarter demo for Rollin Rascal a try.
I don't care about the Horizon one. I just want to hear about Rollin Rascals.
I just keep thinking of wrestling from that South Park episode. So
I could talk about wrestling if you want. There's a fair few things going on in the wrestling world.
Are we going through? I think we're going through a tunnel. Actually, you're breaking up, Seth. Steve, what have you been up to this week?
I've been playing Shadow of the Colossus. The PS4 re-release of
I was going to say that new release game, Shadow of the Colossus.
Yeah, well, I've been thinking about it.
The PS2 game.
It was remastered for the PS4, but like this is probably the last game I've got on the PS4 to play. So it's probably one of those things that like now that I've finished it, I'm just going to go directly into the sun. Well, no, the PS4's go directly into the sun. PS5. Look, it's a base PS4. I'm getting $4.50 at best.
What do you mean? You have to pay GameStop to trade it in.
It's EB Games over here, big fella. Stop being American.
Trying to appeal to the international base.
No. Be proud with who you are. Australia too. But yeah, no, so I've been playing Shadow of the Colossus. It's yeah.
You know what? Save those thoughts for later so I can punch you when you start talking about them. I'll be over in about 5 minutes.
Good, come over. I'm waiting for you.
You got boxing gloves ready?
Yeah, no, we're bare knuckle.
Wow, actual Steve cosplay. All right, cool. Well, of those, I guess the most recent one is wrestling, and by wrestling I mean Rollin Rascal, whatever it was that you actually said.
That is what I said.
Yeah, cool. I was paying attention. Tell us about it, Seth.
Yeah, so Rollin Rascal's a Kickstarter game that's up at the moment. It's being made by some Sonic fan game developers. They did Sonic Overture, I think it was called. I never played that myself, but I had a friend that played it and said they thought it was pretty good. It had some level design issues, but like just the general game feel was fun. So I was kind of keen to try this out because it's nice to see Sonic fan game developers go out and make their own thing, like what's going on with Evening Star, where they made Sonic Mania, and then they're like, you know what, we want to do something on our own, and so they're doing Penny's Big Breakaway, which came out today, and I can't get it for like a month. I'm not bitter about that.
I will say something. Looking at this, that Rolling Rascal, the main character looks like he's got male pattern baldness.
He is a ball.
But like he's got like a big strip that looks like he's just like a bald old dude.
Yeah. Yeah,
Also,
he's kind of like that.
Yeah, so this game is literally just ripping off Sonic Frontiers. It looks like to me anyway. I haven't played Sonic Frontiers.
No, very different, because Sonic Frontiers was an open world game. This is actually like stage designed game, platformer.
Okay. Well, I bet you tell us about it, Seth.
I was planning on that until I got rudely interrupted.
Yeah, right.
Who interrupted you?
The Rollin Rascal bald spot.
I'm a little back and forth on this. I think the game feel is very fun. The character controls loose in a good way, like you're not too locked in what you want to do, but it's loose enough where you can make the turns you want to do very well, and everything feels fluid. And when you get really into it, you can get really good momentum and go really fast in this game, which feels really nice in a 3D game. Even in Sonic games, you don't get this much of a sense of speed in most of them. But I feel like the level design doesn't compensate for that speed, or tries to compensate too much at the same time. Like stages are very, very wide, so there's a lot of room to move around left and right and kind of take multiple pathways, but it also feels like things are too big. Like the character feels very, very small in this world, and visually that's something I'm not really into. Like they stand next to a box or like a house in this game, and they just look really tiny compared to everything else. And with the right amount of speed and launching off points, you can just kind of launch through massive chunks of the level, where it's to the point where I feel like, why do you have this? Like you'll jump off it or get launched off a launch pad, and there's like a lot of level design underneath you, but you skip over all of it. And I just kind of look at it and I'm like, why is this all designed down here when you put a launch pad that just skips me over it in most runs? Like I'd have to be going pretty slowly and trying to explore the level to go down these routes. So it's a bit of a weird mixed bag. In general, I kind of enjoy it just for the game feel and trying to make my runs a little bit faster, but it's also making me realize, like, when Sonic went 3D, why they limited the jump heights or the floatiness of the jumps, or even kind of the speed of the games. And yeah, it's just a very, very much made for like the speed freaks who just want to kind of speed run for these levels. In saying that, like, even though I'm kind of mixed on that, I have thrown money at the game, gone like, yeah, here's $20 so I get like the release version of the game, because of what I played. I do enjoy it. I hope some of the later levels are a little more challenging than what was in like the one stage that they have in this demo. But I enjoyed it enough to just go, yeah, here's some money. I hope you guys do well.
Fair enough. That's cool.
Yeah.
It's a weird one because I'm not really selling it. But at the same time, it's like, it's one of those things where like the game feel is nice. So I suggest checking out the demo if you can. It's just on Steam, just to kind of like feel out the game. But the stage design that's currently here isn't doing a whole lot for me.
It kind of feels like, and this is probably like, and I know it's the like a devil's fallacy to say this, but like the problem with Kickstarter being, oh yeah, we need a lot of money to develop these games. So the game, like the demo that's coming out, isn't very good. But if we get more money, we'll be able to flesh it out and make it better. But the demo is not really getting to that. So it's kind of like a cart before the horse type of thing. But
that's why I think that's why I think it's really important that the demo shows that they have the game feel right. Like just playing it is fun. It's just they need more things in there. And I guess with money that might help. They're also kind of going a little bit ambitious and throwing in a multiplayer mode into the game as well, which I didn't try in the demo myself, but it looks fine.
It doesn't need it though. Like, you don't need multiplayer. I know, as much as a Sonic fan I am, I don't think of a 3D Sonic game. You're like, you know what? Favorite part of that was the multiplayer.
To be fair, they haven't tried since Sonic 06. We'd want to say they haven't tried since, but you know, Sonic Adventure 2 and Sonic Heroes had fun multiplayer modes.
Wouldn't know. Single player experience. I didn't even know Sonic Heroes had a multiplayer. Interesting.
Yeah, the more medals you got via finishing stages and finishing other characters' levels, the more modes you unlock for the multiplayer.
Interesting. I 100% of that game and I never played it. Anyway, it doesn't matter. Are you gonna, so now that you paid the $20, Seth, do you get like the Mega Ultimate customized edition when it comes out?
No, I just get a digital copy of the game.
Nah, that's all right.
But yeah, the reason I wanted to bring it up this week as well is because there's still like 14 days, I think it is, on the Kickstarter to go. So this episode will release in time for people to still hear this and maybe give it a check out themselves if they want to.
Oh, it's already doubled it. It's already doubled its goal.
Oh, yeah. I'm not going to suggest people go and throw money at it if they don't want to, but at least check out the demo while it's still up.
I don't know. Anyway, yeah. I hope your balding guy is all right. How come... you know what? I thought of it. I have to say it. How come like stuff like Palworld, who literally is just like a couple of design copies from Pokemon, gets shit on, but you get something like this, which is pretty much the same game, and it's like, it's fine. It's just inspired by Pokemon fans, and Pokemon haters themselves are really bad people.
I feel like that's an insane topic to get into, but sure, I'll
don't bite.
It's a Steven comment.
I will engage with this bait. You see, they're not literally stealing Sonic's design, where Palworld, they literally have Luxray in it.
No, anyway, let's move on.
To be fair, Luxray is a pretty good Pokemon. I'm glad he gets shared around.
Yeah, it is. Should be an electric.
If you're going to steal any Pokemon, Luxray is a pretty good one to steal.
Yeah.
Imagine they steal Pikachu.
I don't think anyone has the balls to steal Pikachu.
I was going to say, Mr. Nintendo himself publicly executes the Palworld development team one by one.
Luxray, it's like, oh yeah, that kind of looks familiar. I guess we made a Pokemon that looks like that, maybe.
Hang on a fucking second. I'm watching a GIF of this, and I know his head is supposed to be a ball, but he rolls on his head.
Yeah. He when he's rolling, he turns into a ball. That's why his head is a ball shape.
Yeah, no, I get it, but just like seeing it, he's seeing his dumb little legs kicking behind him.
What we reckon? Saitama best Sonic then, or?
Yes.
He is the best Sonic and Knuckles because he does both run fast and punch good.
And he also and he can also fly. So so he's also the best Tails.
Well, and he's the female character is called Cutie, so this looks like it might be a furry game, Seth. So right up your alley.
Says the man who literally said, "I have cat ears."
It's not what I said. That is not what I said. This is slander you'll be hearing from my editor.
Went to a convention with a tail on.
That's nice. Now you're just making stuff up.
Seth, picture this. There's a 12-year-old, right?
I'm scared. I don't want to picture this anymore.
Yeah, well, Steve does, so I'll entertain his fantasy. I'm kidding.
Move us on. It's not funny.
Don't
like being put down.
Is that what you say to the furries?
You're out.
Any other thoughts? Any other thoughts, Seth?
No.
No, not really. It's a neat game. I'm keen, but not too keen. Interested to see where this ends up when it releases in like 3 years.
Cool. Right. Well, thank you for that. Why don't we take a step back through time and talk about Shadow of the Colossus?
Okay. So just for clarification, the version of Shadow of the Colossus that I'm playing is the PS4. Wikipedia listed as a remake instead of a remaster. Don't really know why.
Because it is a remake. They redid all the assets.
From the ground up. Yeah, you literally took the words out of my mouth, big fella. You do the review now.
Yeah, so the remake is actually soulless. It doesn't have any of the charm of the original game.
Would you say it's a shadow of its former self?
You make a great pun, and yes.
It's because it runs at more than like 2 frames a second. That's why it's lost all the soul.
No, I played the PS3 version, so that ran at a smooth frame rate, and by smooth I mean a constant 30.
I thought this game had a lot of. Okay, so let's. We're just arguing about the game without introducing it properly. So let's get into
classic,
it. So,
The Shadow of the Colossus, beloved by many,
not by all. So The Shadow of the Colossus came out in 2005, and it has been hailed as one of the best games for the PlayStation 2.
Not even just the PlayStation 2, one of the best games of all time, I think.
I don't believe that. Has ever been uttered. Maybe one of the...
Not when we have quadruple A bangers like Skull and Bones out there. That's a tough list.
It's probably one of the games that's ever come out. Let's be real.
Yeah, that's okay. You know what? He's
that's
brave,
how people
but
talk
I
about The
support
Last
him.
Guardian.
That's the same developer, isn't it? There's this, there's
Yeah, it is.
Ico, and then there's Anyway, so essentially, what this game is. Oh, anyway, so the Stephen Law enjoyers, you'll know that I got like a PlayStation 2 in like 2008 or something, because I was an Xbox Huge adapter. So I never got to play one of this game with like these type of games and all the classic PS2 games. So I do enjoy sort of going back and playing this and being like, oh, this is that game that everyone was talking about. And this game was described to me many years and many moons ago as, oh, you're just pretty much climbing these big things and you're stabbing them and you're riding around and it's really cool. And I was like, fuck, that sounds mad. But then I never got the game. It kind of fell into the back of my mind. And then I bought this game probably 2019 for like $1 million off. So I probably only would have paid $4 or $5 for it, as I do. And it's the final game.
75% off?
It's
At
more
least.
than 70. If it's less than 75% off, don't even talk to me. I'm never paying full price for anything. I'm very tight. Anyway, it doesn't matter.
Twitch like a toy gun.
That doesn't make any sense.
Sorry, Austin Powers came in mind as you were saying that.
Oh, okay. That's a weird thing to say. So essentially, this is the last game I'm going to play on my PS4 before it goes into the sun. It's going to fly into the sun and we're never going to see it again. But that description that was given to me as a young fella was that you literally ride around on your horse to the next big thing and then you climb up it, then you stab it. And that's essentially...
That is the game.
That is the game. There is no enemies in between to battle. There's no real story there apart from the fact that it's whether it's his girlfriend or his sister or something. She's passed away, and then I can't even remember the guy's name. It doesn't really say him. Is it actually?
They just call him the Wanderer.
Oh, okay. So it is the Wanderer. Yeah, cool. So then he's like, oh, please. He goes to this cursed land, and he's like, please revive my girlfriend or sister, or revive this girl. And the shadow being is like, hey, all right, cool. Kill these 16 Colossi, and then I'll bring her back. And it's like, all right, cool. And that's all you need to know. That's all you need to do. Your magic sword, you press the L1 button, I believe it is. It's the R1 button, because it raises it high into the sky and it casts a beam of light on the next Colossi you've got to go. So the essential gameplay loop is you go from the main temple to the Colossi, you beat the Colossi, and then it teleports you back to the temple, and then you start again. It doesn't really incentivize open world exploration. There are shrines you can make, like sort of pray to, that become quick save points, but you don't really need those. And there are fruits and lizards that you can collect to increase your health and stamina. But the game doesn't tell you that those exist. The lizards you can kind of accidentally find because they make a sound. But like I accidentally found this like looking it up online, because there's a couple of like getting to the Colossi. It's like I have no fucking clue. I'm so lost. And it's like, oh, you can get a fruit on the way. I'm like, what do you mean I can get fruit? I didn't know I could get fruit. And it's that kind of stuff where it is a lot of, it shows you, but it doesn't even show you in some things. It's like these things exist. Sometimes you come across it, all the best. It's
one of those things where the world is yours to do what you want with it. Like, they don't tell you a lot because they want you to, you can explore if you want to, or you can just hardline the Colossus and have a harder time with it. And it's like, well, if you're having a hard time, then just kind of explore and see what you find to help you along the way.
But my thing is like, it doesn't tell you to explore. It just tells you go to the Colossus, and then there's no other things that you will find that will make it better. Like there's no point where it's like, oh, I'm going across this great big desert land, and there's like a bunch of shrubbery and stuff over there, and you're not really sure like what's part of the scenery, because there are like butterflies and other lizards that you can't pick up, and there are sort of like things that's like, oh, cool, that's nice to look at. You're not really sure of the interactivity of it. And it just feels like it's a bit of a letdown. Like, if I didn't see that, I would have no clue that exists. And another way I kind of accidentally found it was that if you go into the pause menu, there's like a stat screen. I was like, all right, cool, show me my stats. And it's like fruit collected 0, lizards collected 0. I'm like, what? Like, I haven't seen any fruits.
Yeah, I don't know if the
like,
PS3 version even has that.
It probably doesn't, because like from my understanding, the PS4 one, they've entered like a weird new game plus mode and a time attack mode and a hard mode.
I believe the new game plus and time attack are in the original.
Okay.
It's just the PS4 version has a couple of extras. Like they're very minor extras.
Yeah, and don't get me wrong, the journey to the Colossus when you're on your horse Argo, it's very pretty. It's very cinematic. You're pretty much holding the triangle down, and there are some pathing issues where Argo just sort of is like, I don't know which way I'm going. I'm turning around here, or you'll be in a forest area and it just slows to a crawl for no reason. But like it's very cinematic leading up to the Colossus, and it kind of is sort of like to bring up the argument our video games art. The journey to the Colossus and the Colossus battle itself is kind of a bit of an art piece. It is a bit unfortunate that there are 16 Colossus, and probably I'd say about 4 or 5 of them, the pathing to get there is like pretty rough. As in like the beam of light that comes off your sword, it points you in a straight line, like as the crow flies. But there is different mountains, different valleys, lakes, rivers, bridges that you have to sort of maneuver around. So there can be parts where it's like, okay, I think there's a big rock formation in front of me. The light is sort of guiding me towards it. I'm stuck because in front of me is just rocks. Do I go past, like, do I go around the rock formation and go further? Or is there an entrance to this rock formation? And it kind of gets, if you miss that entrance, you can go the wrong kind of way. And then you're kind of doing this balancing act of, you're on your horse and you're holding the sword up, and it's like, and then it fucks the camera up because you're trying to look through the thing. There are just those precise moments where it just kind of gets away and feels a bit tedious. And then you actually get to the Colossus fights themselves, and they are essentially present themselves as a big puzzle. The Colossus are usually 5 to 10 times your size, except from like the 1 or 2 of them where they're like lion size. And it essentially comes down to, it has a weak point or 1 or 2 weak points, and you've got to either climb it or break its armor off so you can reach those weak points and then stab into it a couple of times.
Yeah, like the first one is a very simple one where it's literally just climb it and hit the weak point, and then it's like, okay, the second one we're going to give you a little bit of more of the puzzle elements of, it's like, this is a really big one that you can't really climb up, so it's got some weak points underneath its hooves, so when it's stepping over you, you've got to shoot an arrow into its hooves to make it stumble so you can climb up its leg to the weak points.
Yeah, and those kind of ones are good, but then there's, I think it's the 4th or the 5th one, and you're fighting this giant bird, and like on this lake, and it's so fucking tedious. Like it is, I was so frustrated doing this. Like it wasn't the fact that it was hard.
That's one of my favorite ones.
I hate this one. So what you've got to do, Pat, I'm sure you're intently listening, is that, oh, cool, fantastic. You're just not asking any questions at the moment and interrupting me like usual. Like being called out?
Would you like to be interrupted more?
No, I don't. I don't even know why I said that. Now I'm gonna get interrupted more, man. Really. Anyway, so essentially there's this, it's an arena type of thing, and you have to aggro the bird so it flies to you, and then you jump on the bird and you quickly grab on, and it's got like a weak point that you just kind of had to shimmy over, but the bird kind of like rotates, so it's upside down, so it's kind of, you got to grab on, then you got to move. All the while your stamina bar like pretty much fading pretty fast. And it kind of takes you a little bit, I say like a minute or 2 to sort of work out the best time when you can move and when you can move like faster and when you can get into the best position to hit the wing. Well, sorry, hit the weak spot. But like you're gonna fall off because you've got a finite amount of stamina. And then it just takes, like, you fall into the water and then you have to crawl out of the water. You have to aggro the bird again. The bird comes around, and then you get onto the bird again, and you just repeat the thing like 3 or 4 times, depending on how much damage you can do.
I think I only did it twice.
Well, you see, and that's the thing. Like, it's, if you get it perfectly, you could be able to get it in twice. But if you like mess up, or if you kind of hold on for a bit too long because you're a little bit worried about falling off and restarting the tedious process, it becomes a lot longer.
So it's a skill issue.
No, it rewards risky behavior, but then you'll get to like the first couple of Colossus you verse, it kind of doesn't reward you for risky behavior because it's not that challenging and not that complex. It just becomes a lot more tedious. And if you do kind of, especially if like it turns a bit earlier, or if it rolls over completely as opposed to just on its side, you might release a bit earlier, which kind of restarts the tedium. And that's where my core problem is. It's like you could probably cut the health bars in half, only have me solve the puzzle once, and then I can get to it. That's fine. Like there's no, like I've solved the puzzle. I know how to get the bird to me. I know how to climb the bird. I know that I have to wait for it to be perfectly still. There's no reason for me to have to do that 4, 5, 6 times because like I'm worried about falling off and doing this tedious process. But because I'm worried about that tedious process, I'm playing it safer, which is making it more tedious.
I don't slide in with that because these are massive beasts. I want there to be a struggle in fighting them. Well, not fighting them, but in having to completely drain their health bar. Like they fight back against you, they start shaking you off, and part of the appeal is that these are massive creatures that feel like they exist as these unshakable titans.
Yeah, no, and I do love it when like you're on like a big beast and it is trying to shake you off, and it's like you're on its hand and it's trying to get rid of you. I do love that. It's just kind of like, depending on the boss, it can be like, all right, I'm climbing up. I've hit it like 6 times or 4 or 5 times or whatever, and then I've run out of stamina. So I've either got to try to find the perfect spot on his back so I can sort of stay there and hope he doesn't move and shake me off so I can recover the stamina, or I get shaken off and I fall down, then I have to re-engage the climb or wait for them to do a special move so I can grab onto their hand or something. It's just a bit more tedious than what I think it should be. Like whether it's one hit or you're putting the health bar in half, I'm not really sure what the solution is for that. It just kind of felt like there were some that were like more tedious than others. Like the final boss was tedious, and the final boss as well. It introduces that mechanic. Well, it's not that mechanic, but like you have to shoot its shoulder with an arrow, but the shoulder isn't a weak point, so there's no indication for you to be able to know to shoot that. And I thought that was like, I had to look it up. I didn't know. Like I was trying to climb it. It was giving me no way to climb up it. I was stuck. I'm like, I don't know what else I can do here. So I had to look it up, and then look it up. Shoot an arrow into his shoulder, but his shoulder doesn't have a weak point, so you wouldn't know that. I just think that's unfair.
I don't even remember doing that. I just remember climbing up it because it's a massive tower just sitting there, like it can't move or anything. And I remember it throwing lasers at me, and you got to hide in a lot of safe spots against it.
It is fantastic, and it's like it feels like you just make the cover just in time for those lightning bolts to hit. Yeah. And Justin, you're going underground to get closer, and the climb it's a very satisfying thing.
And even the journey to that final one is rough.
Yeah, it's so good, and like it's like your horse doesn't make it because it falls off the bridge, and it's like, oh shit, like that horse has been with me the whole time. Like this really is the last one. Fucking hell.
Yeah, it's heartbreaking when aggro falls into the ravine.
Yeah, it's like it's coming back, right? And it does come back. Spoiler alert. It all works out. But like I just find that final Colossus was just it was a really good journey, but like it was just that the last thing was like pretty unfair, and because I didn't know to hit the arrow, I spent like a good 15-20 minutes like just climbing up, trying to jump to something, trying to do anything to get to his head or something, and I just kept falling off, so I had to keep redoing that climb, and it was just frustrating. And the fact that I had to look it up, and literally I think it was like Polygon, that the article that I was reading is like, oh, you wouldn't know to do this, but use the bow and arrow and hit him in his shoulder where there's no weak point. I'm like, how would I know to do that? At no point in the game has it ever told you to hit something that doesn't have a weak point. It's pretty rough.
I don't know. There's times where you need to use the arrow to kind of draw their attention, draw their aggro, and get some sort of reaction out of them. So I think it's fair to have that as well.
Yeah, I guess so. But that's a specific spot.
Like the snake one that's inside a cave. There's no weak point on it, but you got to shoot an arrow at it to make it start chasing you while you're still riding aggro, and make it run into a wall to then expose its weak point. It's just more along the same lines of that.
I think so. But then a part of it, I'm not sure if this is in the PS2 one or the PS3 one. There are like many hints that are given. Like, let's say if you're 3 or 4 minutes into something and like nothing's really happened, like this weird voice will give you this very, very vague hint. And those vague hints have pretty much told you, it's like, shoot thy arrow into it to get it to come to you or something. And from that you can kind of work out, or it'll say something like, it's got armor you need to get rid of.
Imagine when the voice comes on and it goes, look up the cheat codes online.
Yeah, like
it's essentially just God coming in to tell you what to do.
Yeah, and like I don't mind God coming in and telling me what to do. That's fine. Happy for the big fella to just guide me along the way. There were 2 footprints in the sand, type of stuff. But it turns out he was carrying me. Catholic school education for you right there. But then but the hint he was giving wasn't relevant for that part. Was relevant for his leg. It really frustrated me, and it really probably brought the tone down for the whole game. And it kind of is accumulation of just being frustrated with the pathing on Argo, and for some of the Colossi just being a bit fucking tedious. Fallen off, got to climb back up again. This game's overhyped. There you go. I said it. I don't even think it's a good game. I think it does some things well, but there's just too many things that it doesn't get right, and it just feels frustrating at times. You know what? I'm going to say it. Popular thing bad. There you go. I said it.
So this is where I kill him, right, Sir Patrick?
I knew I was always the contrarian.
Yeah,
See, if this was an Xbox original game, he would have loved it.
No, there's no fucking way. There is no universe where I like this game. No, okay, so hang on. It wasn't that I didn't like this game. It's that there's some parts of this game, 20 to 30% of it, that I'm cut this out. More doesn't equal better. And
this is this is a cut game. There were 4 more Colossus, I think, that were cut from the game.
Thank fucking God. Cut 6 more. It's a short game. It's roughly, I think, 6 hours. 5.5 is how much I spent on it. And or maybe 6.5 is what I spent on it. But I reckon a good half an hour of that is me being frustrated, me all right, Argo, go the right way. Stop being a fuckhead. Or, whoops, I've fallen off the Colossus, got to climb back up it. It feels like it's a lot of filler. I do appreciate it, what it's trying to do and be, and it's you got this, it's a big climb up this Titan Colossus thing. But okay, I've solved the puzzle. Just because I have to hit the puzzle button 10 times or 1 time, it doesn't change the fact that I've solved the puzzle. Make me hit them 5 times. I don't know. This game no bueno.
Wow.
Hold on. I want a clarification because I'm not saying you're sending mixed signals, but you're saying some things are good and then a lot of your things are I was frustrated at this. Do you think it's a bad game, or do you think this is a not for Steven game? Because that's a vastly different thing.
But surely to Steve, every game that isn't for him is bad, because he wants all the games to be for him.
That's true. Pat's got a point there.
Always have.
Would I recommend this for my son to play? He doesn't exist.
So surely you want him to do well in school, right? So no video games.
No, maybe 1 as a treat. He'll be getting into the Pokemon scene. He'll be winning those juniors. Anyway, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, because it's just you're saying the vision is clear. You can see that it is a very artsy game, and you get what you've been able to pick up what it's putting down, but at the same time you just consider some things frustrating, or you didn't enjoy certain aspects. So it's just one of those things where it feels dude, it's more that you didn't enjoy it, but you didn't enjoy it because it's bad, or you didn't enjoy it because it's not for you. It's not the type of game that you like. So
to quote the legendary philosopher Peter Griffin, it insists upon itself.
He's saying that about The Godfather, which is a great movie.
But it insists upon itself, I'm telling you. There are too many parts to this that are it says a lot of, it says one thing in 10 words. There are a lot of parts where it feels like it's padding, and I think it's just bad game design. From a Steven point, I would say that it is objectively bad design for me I've completed this puzzle. Why do I have to keep doing the puzzle 4 or 5 times? And it does kind of feel like maybe it is not a Steven game, but there were parts of this, the Colossus, that were really well designed, and it was clear what I was supposed to do, or even if it wasn't clear at the start, I eventually figured it out. And there were a couple of the smaller ones that were a little bit shorter, and I really preferred those shorter ones because it wasn't just me kind of all right, I've run out of stamina, I've fallen down, I have to climb back up this really big one, and it just feels like just a bit more padding than what there should be. But at the same time, if they did take all that padding, this game would probably be half of what it's supposed to be. And I think the impact it has is that battle between you and climbing this beast, but the climbing it's just really weird because weird's probably not the right word, but it just feels like it just goes longer than what it should be, which I think is like semi-bad game design. It feels like padding. It feels like filler. It feels like a beach episode for an anime.
God, those vibes are completely different.
What do you mean? No, it just feels like the
like a beach episode is a happy-go-lucky episode, while Shadow of Colossus is a massively somber game.
Yeah, no, very true. And the theming of this game, the music, the environment, the scene setting, fucking fantastic.
The music in Colossus fights is fantastic.
And I love how, like, as you climb a Colossus, the music changes. As you get to the top, it changes again. You'll fall down, and then it like sort of fades back out as you're trying to reclimb it again. That stuff, fantastic. Love that. Love the theming.
The music swelling up and being triumphant as you're charging up the final blow, and it goes into slowdown, and then immediately after it starts going into a somber track, like, oh fuck, what the fuck did you do? This is a sad moment that you just killed this thing. Yeah,
exactly. And I love all that. It's just the game elements of it that maybe this would have been a better movie. And if you look apparently according to Wikipedia, there's the Adam Sandler movie.
I already don't like where this is going.
Apparently, Reign Over Me, the movie Reign Over Me. Adam Sandler's character kind of is inspired by has very similar aspects to the Wanderer from Shadow of the Colossus, which I think is fucking fantastic. I never would have thought of this as an Adam Sandler type of game, but yeah, like I think this game, overhyped. It's a 5 out of 10 for me.
Do not listen to this man. He is insane. It is a beautiful game. 8 out of 10.
I'm not saying it's I just think there are frustrating
it's
parts.
Been such a long time since I played it. I don't actually remember what I would have ranked it. I think I would have given it like maybe a 9 when I played it.
Look, you know what? Maybe it is the Zoomer brain talking, but yeah, it just felt like there were parts, and I did find myself on some of the longer Argo trips just pulling out my phone and fucking around for like 30 seconds while he's riding or galloping somewhere.
A lot of this game's appeal comes from the element of just wandering around the place.
Fast travel
and what journey you make getting to the Colossus.
I don't have the attention span for this anymore.
Are you just beelining to the Colossus, or are you actually taking the time to kind of explore the lands? Like, because every time you go,
there's no reason for you to explore.
You just said there's lizards and fruit to make sure that the trip is your battle with the Colossus is easier. Your fight with the bird would have been much simpler if you had picked up some fruit and lizards along the way.
If you like lizards and fruit as the thing to keep you interested while you walk around, then you must love Starfield.
You know what?
No, because Starfield is hitting quick travel everywhere. This, you're actually engaged with traveling.
If Starfield had, instead of loading screens, if it had like I'm holding the triangle button and my ship is flying, there you go. That would be this game.
Instead, Starfield just shows you a picture of a lizard or a picture of a fruit.
But no, every time you're going to a new Colossus, you're going to a new area of these lands. Like, they're never trying to repeat the same journey.
Yeah, and that's good. And that the journey isn't repeated. The scenery is very diverse, so it feels like you are going into a different place. But it doesn't. It feels like it's showing you're in a different area. Yeah, but,
you need to take the time to explore those areas.
But it doesn't tell me to explore. And I understand that maybe I should have done my own exploring, but at no part does it sort of.
That's the thing with these games. They're about your own journey. They don't want to tell you what to do. They want you to experience the game.
That's dumb art house then. I don't understand it. It even needs to be spoon-fed. Wah. Should have had a Minecraft video and a Reddit. Am I the asshole? And maybe I would have enjoyed it more. I don't know.
Wait, guys, I figured it out. If they, back in 2005 you said, came out in 2005?
2005.
If they put Family Guy funniest clips while you're wandering around on the horse, better game?
No. It would have completely killed the mood.
No, they needed to do the Family Guy cutaway scenes, like during you get to a Colossus and it's like, oh, this is just like that time I was
that I killed the Colossus and then flashbacks to your previous fight.
You know what game you should have played then instead? The Family Guy video game.
I did play that game.
I played that too on the PSP.
I played it on the PS. I think I would have played it on the PS2, yeah. And I remember it being dog shit even back then.
I forgot there was a level that was about blackface.
I honestly can't remember a single thing about that game. Anyway, you haven't played this game, have you?
No, I haven't.
Yeah, good for you.
I've thought about it because is it on Steam? I feel like it's on Steam.
No, it's not.
No,
it's not. PlayStation only.
Shit. Okay, maybe it must be something else. It was because there are several games like that because I had a PS2, but I was also one of those like too young to appreciate how good the PS2 was type thing, and pre-internet, I didn't know what the good games were. So there are so many like I didn't play the original God of War's, like similar sort of thing. Maybe it's that. Anyway, there was one game. I think there was one game I saw on Steam in the last 6 months or so that I feel like was either the same series as on PS2 or was a remaster sort of Shadow of the Colossus type thing that I saw and went, now I can experience it again properly. But if it wasn't Shadow of the Colossus, don't remember what it was, doesn't matter now. But no, I haven't played it.
You're not missing out. Maybe I'd say
Damn.
You know, when the ROG Ally is working for you again, I think it's a game worth emulating.
Get a PlayStation Portal.
Okay, now I'm on Seth's team. Fuck you.
Yeah, it's one of those games that like you wouldn't appreciate it in any other forms of medium. Like the fact that it exists as a video game is to its strength. Like if it'd be an average movie. A novel.
They've tried doing a movie multiple times for multiple years now, and it keeps failing.
It wouldn't work. You couldn't do it. Or even a couple of anime episodes.
Have they tried making a live service game out of it?
With a battle pass.
Well, there's this thing called Helldivers right now.
That's not Shadow of the Colossus at all, is it? I don't know. But yeah, okay, we've talked about this for a while.
You have.
Steph disagrees, so he's wrong. So let's leave it at that.
It's not even agree to disagree. It's just let's all agree that Steph's wrong and move on.
I get the feeling it might have come to Switch recently. I don't.
No, Shadow of the Colossus has never gone to another platform. It's only been PlayStation. Sony owns that game.
I wonder if maybe I just saw it on like the PlayStation Store when I was on my PS5 and saw it and went, maybe I can play this now. I don't know. Hard to say.
It would have been free on PlayStation Plus at some point as well.
Yeah, maybe that's been mixed in as well. I don't know. Anyway, yeah, it's been a game that I've thought about playing, but there have always been, and to be honest, there still are, tons of other games that I think I would rather play given I've sort of missed it, that I'm not going back and re-experiencing it, right? Like, I think I've talked about this, but like, I've been told, Fallout 3 is amazing, but I can't get into Fallout 3 because it's been too long that I don't have the nostalgia to fall back on for how old the game is.
Yeah.
Yeah, Shadow of the Colossus is a kind of a timeless thing. You're not going to miss anything by putting it off for another 2, 3, 4 years.
Yeah, like it hasn't aged today.
Maybe that's pushing it.
I can't. But then the
PS4 version hasn't aged.
Steve, let me just cut you off for a sec.
No.
But okay, fine. You speak.
No, I'm done. I don't need to say anything. I'm just saying
he was saying no for himself.
Oh my god.
The PS4 hasn't aged. Like the PS4 version hasn't aged. It still looks graphically amazing. The gameplay is very easy. It hasn't aged in the same way that Fallout 3 does, where if you like cough too loudly, it just crashes and sets fire to your house. No, you go.
No, I was gonna make a joke that if we wait 5 years from now, there will be Last of Us Part 2, Part 7 to play. So you know,
do you really need to play that again when you've just talked? You're going to talk about Left Behind.
No, but you don't understand, Seth. See, when it comes to the PlayStation 7, that's how the game was meant to be played. That was the dev's original vision. Shit,
you're right. Where does that leave The Last of Us 3? Do you think when The Last of Us 3 remake remaster happens, then there'll be like a twinkle in Neil Druckmann's eye of The Last of Us 4 where he's like, you know, maybe there is one more chapter in this story.
Just one more game.
No. Imagine if it's like, oh shit, I know it's based on a film, but I can't remember it, where like he's just punished to endlessly wander the earth remaking Last of Us Part 2 until he makes up for all of his like
Prometheus.
I was going to say all of his sins. I don't imagine he's got that many sins to make up for, but like he has to get like 5 or 6 remakes of Last of Us Part 2 before he can be allowed out of purgatory. I
mean, like Sisyphus. He's with that boulder.
Nah, it's not Sisyphus. It's like a ghost story thing. Doesn't matter. Anyway, if we're done talking about Shadow of the Colossus, then maybe I do talk about
please
the Fast of Us.
Oh man, it's a much better game than The Last of Us.
It is. Let me talk about that real quick.
Just need speed.
So
The Fast of Us, no breaks.
Hang on.
The Fast of Us Tokyo Grift.
Oh, hang on, he's cooking.
Thank you. I talked about why I thought Ragnarok wasn't the best roguelike. We both did.
Yeah, we agreed on many points about that one, which is very rare.
How it wasn't... I don't know why you agreeing with me derailed me that hard, but it did.
You realize that it is actually rare for us to agree on the elements of a roguelike game.
Yeah, but a lot of the criticisms that we had about Ragnarok also exist for Last of Us Part 2
No Return.
Master?
Oh yeah, remaster.
There we go.
Yeah, the remake's the one that went to the PS5.
This is the PS5 version.
Man, I can't keep up then.
Steve, shut up. You're confusing me. It's making it worse.
Okay.
The Last of Us 1 is the one that's a remake. The Last of Us 2 is a remaster.
Jesus.
Go on. I don't
So I somehow had The Last of Us Part 2 on PlayStation. I assume it was one that I got as part of the you've got a PlayStation. Here's a bunch of games that are either really cheap and or free. So I was able to upgrade to the remaster for $20. I was part of that $20 group. And basically the whole purpose of doing that is because I've played through Last of Us Part 2. I was intrigued by the roguelike mode, No Return. And so I didn't really know or have many expectations going into it. And I consider myself not the best Last of Us player, but decent. I didn't struggle per se with Last of Us Part 1 or 2, and I've beaten Uncharted on crushing before, that sort of thing. And I'm not saying it's the same game, but I know difficulty in Naughty Dog games, I guess. And I was surprised at just how difficult No Return is as a roguelike. And it's weird because I think I know why, because it took me a couple goes. Being totally real, I lost in the first area on my first 3 runs. Maybe not the first area, but within the first 2 or 3 areas, I just died and lost in those first couple runs. And I think overall, sorry, my thoughts are all over the place. I have gotten to the end of a run where I had to fight a boss and I lost to the boss, so therefore the run wasn't completed. So I have played a bit. I've played maybe 3 hours-ish of No Return. So I was surprised when I died so quickly the first couple runs. And then I had one better run that I got a good chunk of the way through, and then the best run where I got all the way to the end and then lost. But I think there are a few... I think there's a missed opportunity, which I say a lot about roguelikes, which is really frustrating because I feel really smarmy when I say that, of oh, if only they did this. It still feels like I'm correct to some extent on some of that. It feels a bit too difficult, and it doesn't feel like the sort of game that suits it. And I know Seth's dying to jump in with his bit about how Last of Us Part 2 is about ending the cycle of violence, and No Return is literally about perpetuating the cycle of violence, which...
I wasn't thinking that, but thank you.
I think that's just sell copies.
It did cross my mind several times while playing it that was the case.
I've seen someone actually do a review about how stupid that is.
To give you the broad strokes of what it gives you. So you get to play as Ellie. I don't think you unlock anyone else that quickly. I unlocked 2 or 3 characters by the end of my time, and I spent most of the time as Ellie, basically, as the start, because she's the character that you start with. And so when you start, you get put in what feels way too much the safe rooms in Left 4 Dead 2?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Identical to that. Identical. It's crazy. Where you get to, there's a little shop, and there's sort of intel on the routes ahead of you. There's something else you can do in there as well, but I forget what. Oh, loadouts and upgrades. That's the other thing you can do in there. And so you're in there, and you get to pick which of these pathways. It's kind of like Slay the Spire type thing of which of these pathways do you want to go down, and you can see the kind of overall detail of the rooms that you're going to get when you go down the run. And so the first area I don't remember if it's a choice or not, but the first couple times that I played, it was the town where Last of Us 2 starts, which is, I wanted to say Detroit. It's definitely not Detroit. Where do they start? Tommy's
Isn't
little,
it Washington, isn't it? Or Seattle?
Wyoming. I think it's Wyoming.
What?
You go to Seattle
Wyoming's
as
yeah.
Seattle's where they end up. Wyoming's a state, is the
Portland?
thing.
I don't know. It doesn't matter.
You guys are just naming fucking geographic locations in the states. You're not helping.
Washington.
Anyway,
Washington is the state.
Yeah.
No.
Anyway.
Washington State, yeah? It'd be like that?
Doesn't matter. Point is, the area that
it's
I got
in Jackson
was
County.
Thank you.
You looked it
Jackson
up.
County. That
did.
makes sense. Oh, absolutely. You think he pulled that out of his ass?
Yes.
You know what? You're right, Stephen. I just pulled that out of memory. No Google required. In fact, I used Bing.
Ooh.
Psychopath. So the area that I got was Jackson County, where you're on the main street, and the first enemy, because it can roll different enemies that you face, was Seraphites. Seraphites for the first couple that I got. And so it's just kind of wave. It's like you get 3 waves sort of thing, and it's kind of like the wave defense sort of thing from the Mass Effect 3 multiplayer, which is a loop that I actually really like.
Oh, yeah. I enjoyed that as well, yeah.
Yeah, so it gives you an area. The area is based on the game. You get to move around basically where you want in that area, and there are some places where it suggests that you go because it'll give you, at the end of each wave, it'll be like, oh yeah, we gave you a chest or a crate with some supplies. You need to go get there. And normally it's like you have 15 seconds to the next wave, and it takes you like 10 seconds to run to where the crate is, and so suddenly that becomes your new hidey hole. And so it's that repeated. And so that's the kind of wave defense mission type. There's like different mission types. There's also, what other mission types did I play through? There's also a mission type of like just survive when you're up against infected. It's like survive for 2 minutes, which, I think the only ones that I played were wave defense / kill the enemies, or in the case of infected, just survive for a couple minutes. Yeah, that was it. And so you get to the end of it, gives you some supplies, you're back in the safe room, you get to pick the next area. And sometimes it gives you augments of like little modifiers of like maybe enemies take less damage from gun attacks, or maybe they have less health, or maybe they have, and just little modifiers like that, or like it'll be foggy or something, or like you won't know what your objective type is until you load in. And sometimes it'll actually give you a companion to play as well. And when it does feel good is when you're playing your encounter in a Last of Us style way of like surviving infected is fun at times. Doing wave defense is fun at times. When it's not fun is when the game is really trying to force you to play to a particular style based on the roguelike rather than the game that the roguelike is based on. And it just leaves you with this kind of jarred feeling. So there's a whole bunch of characters you can unlock and play as. It's like, they're all named characters. You know, there's like Ellie, Tommy, Abby,
Joel.
I assume Joel's in there as well.
Joel
I
will be
don't
one of the
remember
last characters you unlock.
Yeah, exactly. I don't remember the full list. And there's a whole bunch of objectives of like, just while you're playing, do these objectives. Like, specifically seek out doing 3 wave defenses or something, and it all contributes towards unlocks of various things. It'll be like different like skins, or unlocking different characters, or unlocking, I think some of them is like cinematic or like backstory type progress. I don't quite remember, but basically very sort of objective focused. And you get to the end, it's like, oh, you died, but don't worry, your progress isn't lost. You get all these objectives. Yay. And the characters have different playstyles. I don't remember what Ellie's specialty was, but Abby, for example, starts with a shotgun and has more health because it's more like kind of close range. Tommy starts more kind of long range loadout, that kind of thing. Yeah, so there's a couple sort of major problems that I have with the philosophy of what they tried to do with the roguelike. I played The Last of Us constantly under the assumption of I don't have enough ammo to expend on just kind of regular mobs. So I need to play around that, basically. I need to like brick people or use melee weapons or like do other things that are more that are easier to find than things like ammo that are typically scarce at the normal to hard difficulty that I played on when I played Last of Us. And that philosophy is really hard to get away from when you're in a roguelike. It's the same criticism I had of the special moves in Ragnarok, where because they're tied to timing cooldowns rather than room cooldowns, you constantly feel like you need to save it until you need to use it. And I got punished for that because the run that I failed is when it made me fight the bloater in the arcade. Just like 1-to-1, you're just doing this boss fight now. And I just ran out of ammo. And it's like, I don't know what I'm supposed to do. Like, I can't melee a bloater to death, although I'm sure there's some way of doing it. But I basically got tackled by a mob and then got put into a quick time event. And then I came out of the quick time event and the bloater just like fucked up my shit and I died. And that was all she wrote.
Even in a single player game as well, though. Like it.
But the like 100%. But the thing is, if that happens when you're playing The Last of Us, it's like, okay, you lost, but
you just reload a checkpoint.
Yeah, here's the boss room, try it again. Maybe, I think there's like a mechanic of like, if you keep failing, it'll just give you more ammo or like other things to try and like make it easy. Like the game doesn't want you to get stopped on progress. And so it gets hard when you're in a roguelike and you know that if you die, you've lost the progress of your entire run rather than just the room that you're in. And so you're making choices not just for the room that you're in to get through it, but like, I can't use all my supplies now because I might need that for the next room or the room after that or any other thing. And so you're constantly playing from behind rather than coming up with a way of playing from ahead, because there's nothing that I found in a build that gives you the power curve of what I consider to be good roguelikes. It'd be like playing Hades, which is the sort of gold, like the god tier roguelike. But all the boons that you have are just like slight upgrades to attacks, so every room feels like, oh man, I'm so glad I just survived that. But Hades is beautiful because it's like that for the first couple rooms of like, man, this is hard. But then you get like 2 boons together and you're like, okay, I've seen the Matrix, I know what sort of build I'm going to go for, that's fine. Last of Us is just, is the same of like, you have a pistol, you want to upgrade the pistol, okay, you've upgraded the pistol. You want to upgrade the long gun, okay, you've upgraded the long gun. There's no synergy there. There's nothing that makes your choices around the build that you have make you playing as Ellie in that moment better than you playing as Abby or playing as Joel or playing as Tommy.
It's got it sounds like it's done the thing that I was kind of worried about, in that The Last of Us doesn't feel like a game that's designed to work as a roguelike.
It's not. Like the whole thing about Last of Us is struggle. Right, like yeah, you can say that it's about the cycle of violence, whatever. That's the story, but
like on the gameplay elements, you're always in a scrappy situation.
Yeah, you're always 2 feet from death, where the consequences of failure are massive. And I personally consider it bad roguelike design when that is the feeling you get the whole way through your roguelike experience. Because something like, even something like Dying Light, the first Dying Light, which I still need to go back and play. I still need to go back and finish, as I played basically to the end. But that's got a similar thing of, at the start, the zombies are a massive threat. And if you get it wrong, you die. But throughout the game, you just get stronger and better equipped, better weapons, better build, everything else. And towards the end of the game, the zombies are just not a threat at all. And it's a beautiful feeling knowing how scared you were of them at the start of the game to how powerful you are now. I never felt powerful in any room that I was in. It was always, oh shit, I am like so close to just eating shit and dying, but I want to progress, so I need to make sure that doesn't happen.
Do you think that's like what it's supposed to be though? Like, is it like The Last of Us is just, when you're playing the story, it feels like you're just very couple moments away from ending it all.
It is, right? But the thing is, there's no story propelling you from eating shit in the roguelike. So you're constantly going, oh, this is so scrappy. Like, even if you're not having fun, you know that you're not having fun in service of a story that is very well written, and you're learning about what happens to these characters, the situations, everything else. There is no difference in No Return if you fail the first room versus the last room. You don't get like lore or anything. It's just, I'm scrappy and 2 feet from death in the first room. I'm scrapping and 2 feet from death in the last room. And so it's just, it genuinely feels tiring to constantly be in a state of, I am so close to death, I just need to survive this room. Because there's no, like the promise of unlocking the character is the closest thing to the thing driving you forwards. And unlocking a character that plays very similar with a different gun is not enough of a reason for me to keep coming back and playing it.
Yeah, there's no push. Yeah, no, I think I get it. Yeah, like with Hades, the push was like you wanted to finish the story or just climb it a bit better. And it was sort of fun to do that because, yeah, the boons all work together, as you said. Yeah.
So Patrick took my last statement from me about this is a game about the cycle of violence, yet here is a mode that is perpetuating the cycle of violence. He stole that from me. I needed that for like 10 minutes into the discussion when I have nothing to talk about. I did think of something new though. Like this entire conversation has just spawned into my mind that when The Last of Us 2 was in development, like before it came out, Neil Druckmann said that The Last of Us 2 isn't a fun game. Fun isn't a word they're using to describe the game.
Yeah. And
roguelikes, the entire aspect of you wanting to continue them is that they're meant to be fun.
Yeah.
So this is a very weird game to put a roguelike mode in where they're like, yeah, no, we don't consider the game fun. The gameplay loop shouldn't be fun. Yet here is a mode that's all about replaying the game, going through all of these rooms over and over again to try and get better runs. But what's the point if you're not having fun doing it?
Yeah. And so there's two things that I want to tie off on that as well, is that the game immediately, which was crazy to me, became way more fun as soon as they gave me an ally, just because instead of it constantly just being your struggle and someone sneaks up behind you, it's now you just have something, either to like take the heat briefly or to call out an enemy position, or even to just it sounds really sad, but like not be alone in the area, like that there's something else happening, even if it's them getting stuck on a wall or some, like, because there are a few moments where it's just like dumb AI doing dumb AI things, but that's fine. That I genuinely preferred every encounter that I had someone else there. That it feels weird that they didn't just make it a perpetual, you just have some companion throughout the whole thing, because it is just so much harder when you have to do everything yourself.
Yeah, I think one of the characters, their perks is actually they just have a character with them the entire time.
It wouldn't surprise me if that's the case. Awesome. That sounds like the closest thing to like varied gameplay that's in this. But I guess when you're doing something like surviving the infected, and infected grabs you, okay, you get put into a quick time event, okay. When you have an ally, there are ways of playing it that you don't die. When you're by yourself, every second that infected is grabbing you, more infected are running towards you, and it's kind of just lights out.
Do you think so? Hang on, does this game have any co-op elements, or is it strictly single player?
As far as I know, it's strictly single player. There didn't appear to be any.
Yeah, I believe
co-op.
It's strictly single player.
Yeah, and so
interesting. Yeah, interesting. You say that like it's funner with when you've got like that second character helping you.
It is, like, and so I think that actually speaks to just the more fun parts of Last of Us in general, because a couple of people and I have had this discussion a fair bit. I don't think I've talked about it much on the pod, but it's like when you look back on which game you prefer out of Last of Us Part 1, Last of Us Part 2. Last of Us Part 2 is a technical fucking masterpiece. Like, holy shit, some of the things that they're able to get away with in that game are insane. But when I think of my favorite moments to experience, none of the moments that I enjoyed experiencing in Last of Us Part 1 or Last of Us Part 2 are when I'm playing by myself in either game. When I think of like the really fun moments that I want to experience, it's like Ellie's rocket scene with Joel in the flashback. It's Ellie and Joel finding the giraffes. It's the
it's the relationships between the characters.
Yeah, Ellie, Joel, and not Tommy, Bill. Ellie, Joel, and Bill wandering around the town, correcting all the traps and fighting all the clickers and stuff. It's the experience of survival with someone else that makes the game much more fun and bearable to play, because it's otherwise a very just sad, genuinely game, because it's like the end of humanity, all that stuff. Pivoting away from the kind of gripes of how it plays out. I think there was also a missed opportunity with how they structured the content of this, which is that they I assume reused. I don't know if there was anything that they built that was new. Everything that I played was certainly, I'm pretty sure I'd seen from playing Last of Us 2. As in like the assets, the worlds. Which is fine. I'm not saying that I expected new stuff in there. Like, you know, they have all these assets kicking around. Why not reuse them?
Hold on. Before you go further, I would like to point out that this is a mode that they charge $10 for, essentially. No new assets, essentially. It's all reused from the single player. Meanwhile, God of War Valhalla, free. They add the entire Greek area into that. All new assets, new enemies, new things to interact with.
I'm saying that's my contention.
Works out.
Yeah. I'm saying that's my contention. It might be that they had to create the assets so that you could play as Tommy and it wasn't fucking weird or something. There might be stuff around that. Fine. But I think they missed it because they made it too much about the characters that you've already played in the game, or the characters you've already interacted with in the game, and it's just stuck them like because there's no story, right? So let's sort of take it from the top. There's no story propelling the roguelike mode forwards. It's just you unlocking other characters, and you can be like, oh, it's Scrimbly Bengus. Finally, I can play as Scrimbly Bengus in a roguelike mode. That's awesome. I think if they had gone the other way, and you just play as a random fucking NPC, it would be a much stronger thing. Like picture this, right? So you've just heard 20 minutes of me describing No Return. Here's an alternative pitch, and in my head, this is way stronger. Same kind of structure. You load in, and it's the Left 4 Dead 2 save room. You get to pick which pathway you want to go down. Same as the Slay the Spire type roguelike path selection. All that's the same. Loadouts, everything else is the same. But instead of unlocking named characters, you choose if you want to play as a Seraphite, a wolf, an infected, a random from Jackson County citizen, some random fucker just wandering around in the middle of buttfuck nowhere Seattle. Factions that way. You always have a companion with you because they have it in the game that when you shoot someone, if it's like a wolf, one of the wolves comes over and they're like, oh no, they killed Steve. You know?
Yeah, like every enemy has like a voice to name that they yell out when you kill them.
Yeah, so reuse that. You pick the faction that you're playing as, and your propulsion for getting through it, maybe you put some lore dump in there or something, it kind of doesn't matter, but your whole thing is you want to travel from point A, let's say Jackson County for the sake of argument, to point B, Seattle. Your final location is Seattle. Maybe it's the bloater boss in the arcade, whatever. Now, in every safe room, you can choose. Do you take stuff from the safe room or do you leave stuff in the safe room? Because I think a much better game loop is you willingly sacrifice some characters, or you start making the trade-off, is this the run type trade-off of taking supplies versus leaving supplies, on the assumption that your next run or a run following, where it's more favorable, better path choices or whatever, becomes the run, and you have rooms where you do feel powerful because you just have more supplies.
So,
yeah,
a funny thing about what you're describing, and I think would help with the side of you saying there's no story to help you get into it, is that essentially what you've just described is kind of how the factions multiplayer worked in The Last of Us 1, where as you were playing through it, you were building up this little story of, all of your victories, you're building up a supply log, you're helping a settlement get created, and you can kind of put that sort of similar story into this if they had made you a random character instead of one of the named characters. Like, you just have like one of those random wolves, and the whole reason you're going out on this roguelike run is because you're going out on a supply run. And so it kind of brings in that story element that was kind of missing.
Yeah, it seems weird to me that it's like the whole game you play as, say, well, I mean, you do play as Ellie or Abby, and the whole thing is just you struggle and then you ideally survive. Whereas in roguelikes, so much of the loop is you died, you know, like no one expects Ellie on the first run to make it all the way to the end, because that would be really, really hard. And so it seems weird to me that it's like, hey, here's this named character whose entire thing is not dying, and you're going to watch her die a lot. And you're going to play as her dying a lot. And there's kind of no reason for it. It's like, for all the shit that I gave Road 76, that game that I played like 2 years ago or something, and like chewed out my graphics card because Unity really didn't like the amount of power draw I could get from my PSU. That was the whole thing. Anyway, that game was, you play as a random, like, literally like proc-gen character. You had no control over the character's name, appearance, or anything. You play through a bunch of proc-gen areas with a bunch of recurring characters, and if you made it to the end, excellent, and it would progress the story a bit. And if you died, then it would just be a name on a board saying they died trying to get to the promised land at the border in the north. That sort of thing. I think it would be more interesting as a concept of, here is a world that is all about the struggle of humanity and society, and for all of the times that you've just been, Charlie number 17 going on a walk or a supply run or what have you, and oh no, they got him, the infected got him, or he's a wolf and a Seraphite fucking arrowed him in the back of the head, whatever. That becomes this recurring thing of like, I'm now up to this part where I've lost all of these characters before now, but some of the characters that I didn't lose left extra supplies. This is the one where humanity does overcome the big bad, does push towards the end of the roguelike mode. You get to the end and maybe there's nothing, like, but it doesn't matter so much because you're just a nameless cog trying to play through it. I'm willing to die on the hill that that's a better concept than what they went for in No Return. And I imagine a lot of No Return is they needed to put something out. They needed an edge to get people to buy The Last of Us Part 17 or whatever we're up to give Neil Druckmann enough cocaine money to write the third part, which I enjoy giving him shit, but like I genuinely love The Last of Us universe. I would happily suck up any more media like I did with the live action TV show. Really excited for season 2. I get a lot of this is probably out of necessity rather than choice, but I'm also just super curious to the people who initially came up with the idea of a roguelike in The Last of Us world. Is the No Return that we're playing that different from...
Is this the game you envisioned making the PS4 version of The Last of Us 2?
But like, what had to be changed to go from your vision to what we got? And if not much had to be changed, I don't think it was a particularly bold vision for a roguelike, honestly. But
I wonder if this was another one of their, we got a bunch of new young employees, we're going to give them something to work on to help them learn the tools sort of project.
Someone told me that was part of the angle, because they have multiple internal teams, right? Like Naughty Dog has become large enough that they have multiple projects on the go. That the people working on this were not the same people working on the next sort of major release, whatever that is. Someone said that they've got a bunch of single player things in the works but are not related to existing franchises. I'm excited just on the principle of what that means for Naughty Dog, but yeah, like what you're suggesting, Seth, I have heard, obviously rumors because I don't know anyone that works there, but I've heard that is partially what happened here.
Yeah, because they said that was how why The Last of Us remake happened on PS5, or even this. I think they even set it for this remaster, so maybe it is just they were trying to get people used to the tools. So make a small mode that we can throw into it as a bonus sort of thing. Yeah,
I'm not going to say that it's bad because the gameplay of Last of Us is strong. The gameplay of roguelike of this mode is strong in isolation, but putting it within a roguelike context, it just doesn't fit. it doesn't match up. I'd even go so far as to say, if you are looking at picking up The Last of Us Remaster just for the roguelike mode, it's not worth it. It's not worth it for the $10 or $20, whatever the upgrade is. It seems kind of down, anyway. But that's sort of where I'm at with it.
Yeah, it seems grim. Like it does seem like one of those things is like literally who asked.
I to be honest, I did. They announced it, and I'm like, oh, I'm intrigued.
Yeah, but like they announced that you're not playing The Last of Us 1 or 2 or one of their remasters and being like, you know what, this needs a roguelike mode.
Yeah,
No one's thinking about that.
Yeah.
Like you are right. They could have spun something up that's different. That's like, oh hey, remember your favorite character Ellie? You'd love to be in a roguelike with her. It's like, no, I wouldn't.
To be fair, a roguelike mode kind of, as an idea, works better in an Uncharted sort of setting than the Last of Us setting.
Because it's a survival game as opposed to a shoot everything.
Yeah, shoot 'em up game.
Setting.
Like that was
a shoot 'em up, if you would.
That was the other thing, is that it's like a minor gripe in the context of everything else that I've had like an issue with in this. But when you're playing through the single player and the game sticks you in an area and it's like, hey, you need to make it to like this door on the other side of this warehouse or whatever, and you're like, okay, make it to the door. Here it's, you're in an area, we will spawn in a bunch of people, and you're like, okay, so what's the issue with that? When you're playing the single player game, you're like, okay, there are people between me and the door, gotta get to the door. Here it's just, you're out wandering around and there'll just be someone that you just like bump into, and it's like, oh, I didn't realize there'd be a person that would spawn behind me. Because why would there be a person there? Because in the single player, I've just come from that direction. Like, I know that it's safe that way. I'm in a corner specifically so that can't happen. And here it's like, whoa, you got shot in the back because, you know, large dude with a pickaxe spawned and you didn't see it. You were looking at the person that spawned on the other side of the room. Oopsies, you died. It's not how a typical roguelike encounter goes.
Yeah, it really sounds like one of those things where even with God of War, they made it work, while it just feels like they stapled it on.
Yeah.
And a roguelike mode really needs thought put into it. It's why so many of them is just a game made to be a roguelike rather than a game with already established elements and then stapling on a roguelike mode.
Yeah. I think Ragnarok was on the right track. I think between the two of them, Ragnarok was much closer to what I'd consider to be a good roguelike than Last of Us. But that's also a consequence of how the game plays, right? Like, you are the god of war.
Yeah, and it makes more sense in an action game than a survival shooter.
Yeah, survival cover-based shooter.
One of these is easier to turn into a roguelike than the other.
Yeah. Anyway, I've spoken about this for absolutely long enough. I might return to it at some point later, but I don't think I'll be bringing it up again unless one of you guys suddenly plays it and wants to discuss it, because I've seen what it has to offer. I'm not that impressed, and I'm not that in need of going back for more.
I'm sorry, Patrick, but this is called No Return, not Might's Return.
True. I'm not going to return. There we go. You know what? I've even go so far as to say I've left it behind.
That's
just like one. Riley.
You get it next time.
Speaking of getting it next time, Saif, Horizon Zero Dawn.
Do we want to?
Should
we leave it for next week?
It's been an hour and a half, man, or an hour and 50. Nah, let's cut it. Unless you really want to talk about it.
No, the Horizon feels like something I can put up for another week.
Cool. All right.
Fantastic.
Well, and with that, we finish part 1 for the week. Thank you to you both. As always, I guess we'll have to get to Horizon next time. So should be a pretty interesting discussion.
It won't be.
Nonetheless. You're right. It probably won't be. Question is, though, Borderlands movie, is that a movie that's going to be good? Or will that actually, you know, the segue sounded better in my head. I was going to say, or won't that be? But that's fucked. That's terrible. I'm so sorry. Have we seen the trailer?
I have seen the trailer.
Steve, have you seen the trailer?
I have not seen the trailer. I'll watch it right now, but I'll have like the sound on my speakers, so like the microphone picks it up.
I will destroy you and your house.
You're welcome.
You know what would be really funny is if you start doing that and then I see the audio coming through Saif via
somehow
via
he gets my Discord picture to light up.
This comes out August the fucking 9th.
It does. It does. It's had a few delays, a few reshoots, and I think an entire change of director once or twice. But yeah, finally on the home stretch.
I think it also had a few recuts in post production. Like the entire post production got delayed to change things.
Yeah,
which might have had something to do with the reshoots.
There's something wrong with Lilith. Is it Lilith?
Yeah.
Why is I've got a lot of problems with this cast now that I'm seeing it. Why is
You just hate Jack Black, don't you?
I love Jack Black. The guy playing Roland,
Kevin Hart.
Yeah.
The funniest man of all time.
Yeah.
Kevin Hart is probably the person I have the most problems with as the cast in this movie. Like, he does not embody Roland at all to me.
I think it is supposed to be like
is that a short king joke, Seth?
No.
No, Roland's supposed to be a serious guy, a serious army guy, isn't he?
Yeah, like the joke of Rollin is that he's the straight man of the group.
Yeah. They've got Tiny Tina in it.
Where's Brick? Where's Mordecai?
Oh, yeah, where is Mordecai? Where's the purple haired girl? You know what? Keep me on the line. It seems like it's a Borderlands 1, 2. Hey, look, it doesn't matter.
This might be their one shot at a Borderlands movie, so it looks like they're just merging as much Borderlands stuff into it as they can.
No, they completely fucked it. Little Says too red. Whatever. Why does she do it? Look, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
Stephen, this is a audio recorded format where we have to express our opinions. You cannot just get exasperated then say it doesn't matter over and over again.
There's like a part of the trailer where like just Tiny Tina just does like a cartwheel and then just hits a button. Like, but you didn't need to do the cartwheel. Like, it's press the button. I don't know.
Have you met Tiny Tina?
Yeah, but like, look, it doesn't matter. I don't think this is going to be very good. I
think there's enough here that even if the film overall isn't good, that it will be entertaining in parts enough that I am willing to watch it. I'll be brave and say I would like to watch this film.
Okay, Patrick, I have a question for you that was posed to me in a Discord server.
Let me answer that. I do believe women can act, unlike Steve. What was your actual question?
What? That's not what I said at all.
It had to... Give me 1 second to go track it down.
Shit, here we go.
Are you literally going to like call attention to something you have to say then forget what you're going to say?
Yeah.
Why Lilith's head be that red?
Yeah, I'm not sold. Did you end up ever watching that live action Monster Hunter movie, Pat?
I have seen every Monster Hunter movie that's made it to some form of cinema. The live action one.
They made more than one?
I don't. Shoot. So they have made more than one movie, but I don't think both of them had a cinematic release. So the one that you're thinking of that had a cinematic release, the like obvious live action one, the like fucking Izakaya.
Yeah. 2021, yeah.
Yeah.
With Mila Jovovich. Yeah.
Yes, yeah. With I think her husband as the director.
No.
There's something in there. Anyway, that film not good, but they, to their credit, did a lot of the CGI quite well with the monsters and things. It was just that the story on the whole was a bit of a nothing burger, which I'm not expecting to be wowed. Like, I'm a Monster Hunter super fan, and it was entertaining enough that I don't regret going to it, but it's not a film that since coming out in 2020 I've thought about going, man, you know what I haven't seen in like 6 months that I really want to see again? The Monster Hunter film. But to answer the second part of that, there was another film, I don't remember the name of it. It was done as a more 3D animated type Monster Hunter film.
Monster Hunter Legends of the Guild.
I saw that one and that was no good.
The American CG animated fantasy, that's what they call it.
Yeah, sure. I didn't mind that one. I thought that one was quite entertaining in parts. It was certainly, I could more clearly place that film's role in the lore of Monster Hunter more than a funny American woman gets sucked into magical Monster Hunter world.
Yeah, I just kind of found it a little bland, but like it's not bad, just it was there. It's like background noise TV.
Anyway, I'm done talking about this.
Anyway, I got a question. So this is going to put Borderlands down a little bit, but the question was posed to me as, do you think the story will be better than Borderlands writing normally is, or is it truly going to belong to the series?
Oh, the writing in number 2 is pretty good.
Question.
Yeah, it is. The writing in number 2 wasn't too bad.
The writing in 2 was very memey. It got over the top in 3, but 2 was still very memey and self-aware-ish. I don't know if it was self-aware.
Yeah,
but it was
I wouldn't say it was
poking
self-aware.
at itself. Yeah, I think it's going to go along those same lines, but it's going to be Hollywood schlock instead of video game schlock. Like, it's going to be Marvel quips. But Marvel quips are the Hollywood equivalent of what Borderlands is to video game writing, and I think it's going to go for that tone.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah, okay.
I was actually gonna I was gonna suggest a kind of weird middle groundy cop out, which is that something like Avatar: The Last Airbender live action, where a lot of the dialogue is shared. So, like that, I guess to answer your question, I think there's a difference between the writing and how the writing comes across, because you can write good dialogue, and for whatever reason you can just have it not click with the actor, or the director just has like a particular vision that it just doesn't work, but the writing itself is pretty solid. I would hope, given the caliber of most of the actors attached to this, that won't be an issue. So my issue is more going to be because it's easy to do like haha funny sort of memey over the top type stuff in the Borderlands universe where everything is cartoony and vibrant and over the top. But if you try and take that same energy and turn it into live action, you might just get stalled out by it being live action, which I think is sort of what's happening with the episodes that I've seen of Last Airbender. It's like, okay, you know what? It's like animated Lion King versus live action Lion King, where it's basically the same story, but you just don't have same expression.
A fresh coat of paint.
Yeah, you don't have the same expression range because you're no longer in an animated medium. And I think that is something that could quite easily happen with something as bombastic as Borderlands.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah,
because there was a film. Shit, I want to say Lollipop Chainsaw, but that wasn't it. It was a film that came out like 15 years ago, something now, 10, 15 years ago. It was that girl that was in the psych ward, and then she escaped to like that alternate reality type thing, and there's like big mechs walking around and like battles with umbrellas and things.
No clue.
Someone help me out.
I don't know that one.
Holy shit. The point is, I don't remember the name of it. Someone's probably screaming. I don't remember what the name of it was, but the point was a lot of parts of that film looked good on paper, but I haven't seen that film because everyone who I know who has seen that film say that they all say that these scenes are really good. These couple of scenes, fantastic, stand out, really good scenes. But the film overall, with those scenes included, is ass. And that could also be a Borderlands issue.
Yeah.
I think, being honest, I think the trailer is pretty entertaining. My hope is that they didn't put all of the entertaining bits in the trailer.
For me, the biggest hurdle is the cast. Like, Kate Blanchett as Lilith, I'm fine with. Jack Black as Claptrap is also fine because Jack Black just brings that energy that Claptrap will have. Then it's like Kevin Hart as Roland is throwing me off. Jamie Lee Curtis is in this movie as Tannis, and I didn't realize it was meant to be Tannis.
Is she fucking Tannis? Tannis doesn't look like that.
Yeah, she's Tannis. And
I agree with you on most of those points. I'm a sucker for Jamie Lee Curtis, so
Jamie Lee Curtis is great. It's just it doesn't scream Tannis to me.
I don't know. There's like a part of my heart of hearts that can see how she would act like Tannis really well. She would just be older than the Tannis that we know from the games.
Yeah, it's just visually it didn't strike me as that, and I had to see in written articles saying that she's Tannis to realize that's who she's meant to be.
That's fair.
Yeah, and then it's like
whatever, doesn't matter.
And then as a Mordecai player, I'm upset that Mordecai isn't here. And
absolutely based Mordecai player.
And I can see why they replaced Brick with the Psycho, but at the same time, it's like very obvious they just got the Psycho in here because the mask is the visual for Borderlands.
Yeah, and I think Krieg's the Psycho, and like he'll just say like Psycho stuff.
Yeah, or he'll just mumble.
Wacky!
Or he'll just mumble and groan.
Yeah, that too. But look, as much as I like being a Borderlands film podcast, there are other news articles.
You imagine that he dances around and then the psychotic thing he says is tip your landlord.
Oh.
I would actually put a bullet through the cinema screen.
What an interesting thing to say.
Look, it's Borderlands. It's Borderlands. It has to be gun related.
Of course. And then the screen
like
drops
James Gunn.
loot.
You know what? Maybe I would have trusted James Gunn with this movie.
Yeah.
Final word on it. I don't think this will be a stellar like Barbie movie, Mario movie. Like the IP just carries it to like the heights of box office stardom. But I haven't seen as many red flags in this trailer as other trailers of things I like, so I'm still interested for now.
Yeah, there's not a lot of red flags, but I'm not super keen on this because of the cast and maybe being worried about the direction of how the tone and script will go. But I'll see it. It's not going to be a cinema watch, but when it comes to streaming services, I'll watch it.
Well, can't wait.
I'll see you on the high seas, my friend.
Yeah. Actually, I don't know why I said can't wait. I can wait. I'll gladly wait.
So the question is, can you also wait until 2025 for Project L, officially titled 2XKO, which is
the making a movie about your life, Seth.
Which part? Because they got rid of the L. It's a KO now.
Oh. Well, you didn't finish the story, so I didn't know.
Remember, you can't
he was in
spell...
the middle. You rudely interrupted him. This is the second time this episode you've rudely interrupted people to try and make a bad joke.
You can't spell Seth without an L. That wasn't as funny for needing 3 attempts to say that joke. Anyway, this is the League of Legends, what do we call it, platform fighter?
This is a proper fighter, 2v2 fighter.
Right, the proper 2v2 fighter.
Why the fuck they keep making these? Aren't these games like making this company bankrupt? Like these spin-off League of Legends games because no one buys them? They are so far down
the rabbit hole on this one that they have to see it through.
Yeah, essentially, like they literally stopped a indie fighting game from happening to make this happen.
Yeah, like, and they don't sell. Like, 'cause nobody cares. Because the people that play League of Legends don't want to play anything else. In my opinion, as I don't know, most of my friends play Dota, but
yeah, but I think the fighting game community is very excited for this and will get behind it enough that it'll work.
Okay.
It's just that people don't care about League of Legends lore games.
Still need to watch that anime they did.
Arcane, yeah.
Arcane, yeah.
Fan-tucking fastic.
But yeah, small handful of things on this. 2XKO, it's universally agreed that this is a terrible name for it, and everyone is just calling it Project L because they think that was better.
Well, my joke stands.
Patrick mentioned that it's coming in 2025. It'll be coming to PlayStation 5, the Xbox Series consoles, and PC next year. But before then, they're going to try and do a at-home beta network test in sometime this year. So sign-ups for that are up, and I've already signed up for it because I want to give it a go. But they're also saying they're going to go and put it out at like as many events as they can when it's ready. So I think this will probably show up at like BAM and PAX when I go to those this year.
Have you guys ever played League of Legends on your phone?
No.
I have
not. Have you ever played League of Legends? No. Have you?
No, I haven't. It's been many, many years since I've even had a League of Legends like client installed on a machine of mine. More to say that I remember how big a deal everyone made of, oh my god, League of Legends is coming to phone. I don't know anyone, even people who still play the occasional League of Legends game, who ever played it on their phone.
I've heard like 1 or 2 cases of people playing it on their phones, but like it's just 1 or 2 freak cases of people being like, yeah, I tried it out.
It's I'm not suggesting that Project L is coming to the phone or anything, but more just they have a track record of trying to spread across platforms that if for whatever reason it didn't go very well, given the precarious situation that they're in after all the layoffs. Shit, that was earlier this year, eh? That wasn't one of the last year ones.
Yeah, this was just a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah. Whether they also look at trying to just stick it on 1 billion devices. But we will see.
I think just going to 2 major consoles and PC will be enough for this.
If you said the 2 major consoles and Xbox, I would have high-fived you.
No, see, it's going to come to the Switch 2 next year.
Hey, there we go. Any other words? Otherwise, we get to move on.
Yeah, no, I'm keen to give this a go when the beta comes out, and I think they'll try and make this free-to-play because every Riot game is free-to-play. So if that does happen, I'm just going to pick it up day one.
Interesting.
But keen to see where it goes.
Quick question before we move on from it. Which one releases first, Project L or Multiverses?
Project L.
Multiverses.
Despite what McDonald's Australia will try to tell us, Multiverses is not coming anytime soon.
Absolutely fucking unhinged.
The most factual source of news. Which, funnily enough, because of the article that I'm reading on, it must be because of something that I visited in a previous life, but one of my ads is 20 McNuggets.
Hold on. We can rework this back to that Nuggets Tetris thing from earlier in the episode.
Oh. Can we?
No.
You know what? I will have a chicken nugget pizza for dinner. You're right.
So yeah, the story here is that someone found on the McDonald's website that coming soon, Multiversus tins are going to be available at McDonald's Australia, which is weird because the game still has no release date.
And the beta closed down last year.
Yeah.
Very, very, very fucking strange.
I assume this was a promo that was decided on like a year or more ago, and they're just beholden to doing this now.
Yeah, it's probably just placeholder text. I was like, yeah, it's coming soon. Interesting.
Well, speaking of other things now, as in today, day of recording, Dragon Ball FighterZ PS5 and Xbox Series has launched, is launching, whatever word you want to use there. I believe this is up your alley, Seth.
More importantly than the next gen versions is that with the next gen release, they finally also added rollback netcode to the game. The rollback netcode's only going to be on the PlayStation 5, Xbox Series, and PC versions. So if you're playing it on PS4, Xbox One, or Switch, you're shit out of luck for the online.
I have nothing. I don't know what to say.
I also have nothing to contribute. Yeah.
I'm happy that the rollback is finally here. It felt like it was never coming out, even after the beta happened, and then at the last Dragon Ball Battle Hour they did in January. It's like the big Dragon Ball gaming event. They're like, hey, so we got an update on the rollback. It's not ready yet. It's like, Jesus Christ, when's it coming? Please, if we hadn't had played the beta, we would not believe that it was real.
Yeah. What does, because I'm just reading this article here and it doesn't seem like the upgrading. So the upgrade, if you want to go from the PlayStation 4 or the Xbox One version.
I think it's just a resolution bump. It'll be 4K.
That's it? That's fucking it, eh?
4K resolution and rollback netcode.
It is free of charge if you do want to upgrade, and but I don't know. Interesting.
A free upgrade is nice. It's just a way to keep the game still current.
Okay, so question though. Would you rather a free upgrade with rollback netcode or, and hear me out, a $20 upgrade and it comes with a roguelike mode?
I'll take the free upgrade, Jim.
Yeah, I'll also take the free upgrade.
Always copying me.
I think rollback netcode is more important than a roguelike mode nobody asked for.
That doesn't suit your game.
But the last fighting game block thing I want to mention, John Cena's Peacemaker is finally in Mortal Kombat 1. He's just released as of like a day ago, and the only reason I'm bringing this up is because there's an assist character that can make him invisible, so you can literally go, you can't see me with John Cena in Mortal Kombat.
Holy shit.
Which makes his inclusion absolutely worth it.
It's pretty good, I'll give it that. Not that I care, but...
Look, it's Mortal Kombat, I also do not care.
No, you know
I
what
just
we
thought the
need?
you can't see me thing was funny.
You know what we need another movie of? Mortal Kombat.
I mean, they're doing a second one.
Yeah, that first movie wasn't too bad. Like the one that came out like 3 years ago.
It was shit.
It
was bad.
You saying it wasn't that bad is the nicest thing I've heard anyone say about that film.
I think because of my expectations for it were at zero. Like it was. I
do not care for the self-insert main character.
Oh yeah, the self-insert main character was no, and then like, he starts off as like a UFC fighter. It doesn't fucking make any sense.
They also fucked up in the sequel because they didn't get The Miz to be Johnny Cage, even though half of his WWE career is being Johnny Cage as a wrestler.
Maybe no one cares for wrestling, I guess.
Especially not Johnny Cage.
Look, statistically, 1/3 of the members on this podcast care about wrestling, which means 1/3 of the population does. That's how statistics work.
That's not a passing grade, big fella. I think we can cull that 1/3. It's not even. Move on. We got a segue here, big fella?
We do.
No, we're just going to let you keep talking.
For you, Steve. What is Committee?
I get the feeling it's some, judging by the screenshot from Gamatsu, it looks to be an anime game with fossils.
You mean the magical flying Leopleurodon?
There's no fucking way you know that's an Eopleurodon.
I've seen enough Charlie the Unicorns to know that is in fact a magical Leopleurodon.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Seth, back me up.
Yeah, it's what Patrick said.
I would have said it's just like your standard Megalodon, but whatever.
Yeah, I
don't know what this is.
Exactly. I much like the headline of this. Would be interested to know what is Kamudi, which, funnily enough, can be answered in a developer diary that was released recently, as Steve said, on a Gematsu article. Yeah, do you know any more about this stuff?
Yeah, so what they've done is Kamuri is Ikumi Nakamura's new game. They announced it at a Summer Games Fest, I think it was last year, or the Game Awards, and they're like, Ikumi Nakamura is working on a new game. It's very, very early, like still in pre-production, but we wanted to showcase that she's doing something because we want to give her like we want to put it out there so that a publisher will pick it up for her.
And for those that aren't aware, Ikumi Nakamura is the person that did Ghostwire Tokyo.
She half did that. She left like in the middle of development.
Oh, right.
Yeah,
she became
she
the
was
ghost
later
in
as
Ghostwire
director
Tokyo?
of that game, and then like she left.
No,
So-
she did a lot of
so-
work on Okami and Bayonetta. Far out.
Yeah, she did character designs for those games. So like you can see in her artwork throughout this video that like she's got very good character design and enemy design elements backing her up. But yeah, there's not like a lot of hard concrete stuff in here, but they show a lot of early development footage throughout this, and it looks pretty good. Like there's a lot of it looks like it's going to be a smooth action parkour game. They're also saying it's going to be like a PvE game, which kind of raises a couple of yellow flags, but with how well Helldivers 2 has been doing recently, I'm willing to just go, okay, you know what, it's a yellow flag instead of a red flag.
The yellow flag is we're pouring $200 million into it, and it's a live service game.
Ugh. But yeah, also just a general thing for me is that like seeing all this early development footage, they're also showing a lot of animation work, and they're very hard stanced on. They're doing hand animation instead of mocap animation, and you can tell because they're doing a lot of really interesting stuff with their squash and stretch techniques and just how fluid everything looks. So yeah, I'm just kind of keen to see how this looks when it's in a more of a fleshed out build.
Fair enough.
Okay, all the best.
So the next segue is that PSVR 2 is... Nah, that's fucked. PSVR 2 is adding PC support in 2024. That's kind of cool.
Very surprised. Did PSVR 1 have PC support? I don't think
No,
it
it
did.
didn't.
I don't think it did.
It'll come up a little bit later in the podcast, but there might be a reason why they're doing this. But also, I think it's just generally good to make the headset just work on PC as
I know, Seth, pick me. I know why.
I'll pick you later in the episode.
Okay.
But yeah, I think just generally having it support PC just opens up the headset to being able to do so much more than just be stuck on the PlayStation 5 and whatever VR games come to PlayStation 5. So having access to all the VR stuff that's also on PC just makes this a much more interesting headset to buy now. And it might work on me. I might end up getting this down the line when they're slashed half off because they're trying to get rid of as much stock as they can.
What do you mean? Simply just buy a pre-loved headset, preferably with all the gamer gunk still around the eyes.
Don't call it that.
Excuse me while I go throw up.
Gamer gunk.
And much like all of the things inside you leaving your body when you throw up, Neil Druckmann doesn't know how many more big games he has left in him. I'm sorry, that segue took a real turn.
He can only handle so much more big cases of gamer gunk.
You're right. He's got 6 more cases of Last of Us in him.
I think he said he's got
4 of those
maybe
are remasters.
So this is from a podcast that he was on with Ludacris, because for some reason Ludacris has a podcast. But at the same time, you know what? I can't throw that shade at him because for some reason we have a podcast. And so you know what, Ludacris? Oh, sorry, not Ludacris, Logic. It's Logic.
Yeah. Okay, that's fine.
But yeah, I think I believe he said he's got maybe 2 to 3 more big games in him, because at this point, big AAA, quadruple A games take like 5 to 7 years to make. So that's looking at like at maximum like 21 years for a third game to come out. And so yeah, I can kind of see him putting like that like stopgap on him, but at the same time it's like, why are you saying this sort of thing, sort of vibe? Like, this doesn't feel like information we really need to know. But this all came from like a conversation where he was saying he's looking at like trying to express himself in other creative avenues. Like, he's got the Last of Us TV show now, and that was a very successful project for him, and it was very creatively fulfilling for him. He might want to go and do like some smaller budget games, like something that doesn't take 5 years, like 3. The Last of Us 3. Yeah, Helldivers 3, where the commentary is not on Starship Troopers, it is on world events that he may or may not strongly feel about.
Yeah, I mean, it is fair. I feel like, I'm not saying I can speak for Neil Druckmann at all, but there certainly has been an uptick, particularly at the start of this year, of people in these established creative roles being like, you know what, I'm leaving the rat race behind. Like, all the big YouTubers starting to think about moving on to other things, and not that, you know, we'll never see him again or whatever, but just no longer doing the thing that they've been doing for, I don't even know.
Yeah.
What, Neil Druckmann's what, like one of the like OG people at Naughty Dog, right? So he's
he's not OG. He came in with Jak 3.
Oh shit. Okay, well, even with Jak 3, that's still like,
yeah, that's still like almost 20 years ago now.
Yeah, which crazy time spent. Yeah, no, it's understandable. Yeah, of course, it's all just sort of talk, and you know, things can change, so who knows. Moving on.
Just a quick last thing.
Last of Us.
Honestly, his next thing is probably The Last of Us 3. But I am interested to see what he would do in a new IP. I want to see him branch out outside of The Last of Us.
And just because I know that Neil's a big fan, please call it The Last of Us.
Don't. The First of Us.
The Last of The Last of Us. Excellent. I agree, though. I suspect... Well, I'm sure I speak for a lot of people when I say that any Last of Us sort of IP, exploration, lore, that sort of thing, is always going to go down well. Even if it's not good, it will still go down well just because of how good we know it has been or how good it could be. And there's at least one game's grace in there of it to all go to shit and people still go, hey, franchise is still pretty good. But at the same time, exploring new IP would be kind of interesting. So
yeah, and just on a general sense, the Last of Us 1 came out, what, 2012?
Yes.
2012.
Let's be a little lenient and say they started development on that in 2010, but I think it was probably more towards 2009.
I think they had, if I'm remembering correctly, there's like 2 core teams in Naughty Dog, or at least in like the main Naughty Dog office.
Yeah, after Uncharted 2, that one half went to work on Uncharted 3 and the other half started on The Last of Us.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, let's say 2009, 2010, that's been 15 years working on almost exclusively this one IP. The only other thing he's gotten to work on was Uncharted 4. So I can imagine that feels pretty creatively stifling sometimes as well. Like, a good chunk of your life has just been this one IP.
I mean, we've been doing this for 3 years. So
I know, right? How many episodes have we done? 107. How fucking good. We could have made The Last of Us Part 1 in that time frame.
Not with just the 3 of us.
Yeah, we could have. How hard can it be to make a video game? I'll be the ideas guy.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Pat can be the host, and Seth, you can just edit it all together. It's making video games like it's pretty much a podcast, right? Just chuck up a couple of graphic images.
When I think about it,
graphics.
You know what? I feel like you'd have a very good conversation with Pirate Software about this. Could we get him onto the podcast?
Yeah, get him on the podcast.
But you see, the thing is, we'd all be so enamored that he's just here. It wouldn't really be a podcast. It would just be an extended YouTube short of Pirate Software, and we'd just be sitting quietly on the call.
Actually, no, that's
Steven would actually be too scared to actually say any of this stuff to him.
I'd be starstruck, to be honest. Shout out to Pirate Software. He's a fucking fantastic YouTube content. And like, while it does sort of seem tailored to game advice, he's fucking general life advice is pretty fucking good.
And he picked up the Streamy.
I don't know what that is.
They had the Streamer Awards last week.
He also has 6 ferrets.
As
a owner of one
Seth,
ferret.
I'm literally about to say the funniest fucking joke. Come on, man. You got to give me this.
No. As an owner of one ferret, Jesus Christ, I can't imagine the smell.
If you got a Streamy, I can't believe they're giving out awards for pissing.
I enjoy that I interrupted that joke specifically.
I thought I was onto the gold there. Liquid gold, some might say. Piss. Stop smelling.
I'm just thinking of a short. It's not from Pirate Software. It's someone giving their ferret a bath in it. I think it is actually like milk and some kind of cereal.
Oh yeah, the oat bath thing.
Yeah. That's right. The oat bath.
I think I might have seen the same one.
And then they go to dry the ferret off, and I swear they did this intentionally. They cut it between picking the ferret up and wringing out a cloth, and the first time you look at it, it honestly just looks like they just wring the ferret out to dry.
Okay, I don't know.
It's not like a gentle cloth ring either. Like I genuinely thought we just watched her snap the spine of a ferret, and then I go to the comment section, and everyone else that saw that short thought the same thing. Anyway, the ferret was fine. Shout out to that ferret, I guess. You know what else? Shout out to Remedy Entertainment picking up Control IP from 505.
Happy for them. It's very good when a company can get back the control of their IP from a shitty publisher.
You love to see it. What does this mean, Bob?
Okay, so Stephen, I'm going to need you to sit down and not worry about the money, but for approximately 100 million euros, Remedy has gotten control of the Control IP. So 505 will have sorry.
Other way around.
505 invested 100 million in revenue or something along those lines, but the deal for the deal to get the IP back was 17 million euros. Hey everyone, editing Saif here to slap recording Saif on the back of the head because he got both of those things wrong. What actually happened was that Control generated 100 million euro in revenue for Remedy and 505. It was neither of the other things. It was actually just how much money they made.
Jesus fucking Christ. This includes publishing, distributing, and marketing. So, and I think, wasn't there a movie being discussed, Out of Control? And that, was that movie? I just
was
made
that
that
the title? Out of Control, was that the title?
Oh. No. I mean, like, if there was, anyway, doesn't matter. All the best. Try it next. But like, I'm just thinking with like the Alan Wake verse exploding with the success of Alan Wake 2, this is probably really good to bring that into the fold.
No, Alan Wake 2 doing so good is probably why they have the money to get the IP back. But yeah, no, so 505's contracts will run out at the end of the year, so they're still going to publish Control 1 on platforms until the end of this year. 505 will be publishing the game on all platforms, and then it'll transition to Remedy being the publisher. But for their next 2 games, their Project Condor game, which is a co-op shooter, and Control 2, those will just be fully in-house Remedy projects. 505 won't have anything to do with those.
Cool. I just want to chalk this up to a win that we're not reading that the Embracer Group either bought something or had to axe something for a change, so yay.
But the axes are coming.
They are.
If we don't say anything, it doesn't happen, right?
No, it still happens.
Well, in that case, let's just skip. Can't talk about that one. What about this? Oh no, can't talk about that one either. Definitely can't talk about that one. Nope, that's also bad.
So the next 4 articles are all about layoffs.
Yeah, pretty grim. I've been reading a bunch of stuff. Actually, no, you go first.
I was just going to say it's hard to make a fun segue when it's just more layoff news.
Yeah, so Supermassive, Deck 9, Sony, EA, a considerable amount of employees. A lot of people are saying that this is like a correction because of the overhiring they did during COVID.
Supermassive was 90. Deck 9 didn't give a number, but said
20%.
It says 30 employees. They wrote it as 20%, but that's roughly 30 people at that studio. So Sony, I'll leave to last actually.
Fair.
No, just because of like how big it is for theirs. EA laid off what was it, 5%? Yeah, 5% of their workforce.
So 670-ish people.
It's speculated that's about 670 people. Sony went with 900 staff, and that's across their teams. That's in the United States. They laid off people from Insomniac, Naughty Dog, and some of their technology, creative, and support teams. And in the United Kingdom, they did reductions at Guerrilla Games, reductions at Firesprite, and closed down London Studio. London Studio is a studio that was one of the only studios Sony had that was working on VR games, and they had a live service game in the works that wasn't announced yet.
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty fucking grim.
To make it even more ghoulish about the London studio one, 5 days before the closure, Jim Ryan went to visit to have his farewell party at their studio, where they hosted a party for him.
Yeah.
If I was anyone at that studio, I would be hunting that man down.
Yes, the snake in the grass behavior.
Yeah, well, okay, but like counterpoint, join the list. Like, you know, they have to wait their turn.
Also, along with this, it's reported that Firesprites may have cancelled their Twisted Metal live service game.
Okay, so on one hand, boo, cancelling a Twisted Metal game. On the other hand, yay, fuck live service.
Yeah, they cancelled a live service game. I think not a good thing. There'll be more layoffs to come.
I think Twisted Metal could have worked as a live service game since it's a multiplayer shooter style game. So that kind of leans into being okay for live service.
Interesting, Seth. Let me tell you about a little game called Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League, which is also a shooter game designed around the live service model.
Yeah, but that's a narrative game. It's not focused on PvP. PvP is where I feel like live service can work.
Players versus Patman?
Players versus Pim Ryan.
Actually, what was... Oh, shoot, we were talking about this, like, so many months ago, where one of the developers got pissed and then put... Oh, no, it was Unity. It was in the throes of all that Unity shit. They put the image of the CEO on the enemies that you could shoot.
Oh, that's good.
Do you guys remember that? We talked about it. It was a news article. I'm pretty sure it was in the throes of the Unity stuff. The guy who we all hate from Unity, Riccatello.
Can't remember his name.
I'll be right honest,
he's a big fella.
Sounds like one of the. So I don't remember the full context, but the long story short, if I'm remembering it correctly, long story short, one of the developers within the Unity ecosystem got pissed at him for something unrelated to all the shit that happened with Unity recently. This was just like a fun historical thing. And so, somewhat Easter eggy, somewhat just fuck Riccatello, put his likeness, was I think how they described it, on the enemies that you had to kill in the game. And people were like, this is close to crossing a line.
Yeah.
Also, over on the EA side of things, I also want to mention that it's reported that EA has cancelled the FPS Star Wars game that was based on the Mandalorian storylines. Not the Mandalorian TV show, but just like that side of the universe. They had a Mandalorian game in development, and that's been cancelled along with all these layoffs. And back on Sony for a moment, Jim Ryan and Herman Holst have both done open letters to the employees that have been posted online. From Herman Holst's perspective, it sounds like they're going to start and try transitioning to making their games at lower budget, which makes sense because they seemingly spent $300 million on Spider-Man 2, and that is an insane amount of money to spend on a video game, and They can't keep doing that.
Right, but hear me out, right? Spider-Man 3, what if it were a pirate game?
Is it live service? Will it take 10 years to release?
Absolutely. Actually, you know what? I think the Singaporean government's looking for something to just yeet money at. Let's get them on the horn.
And one final thing I'll mention on these layoffs as well is that I believe it was Deck 9 did this, but also on top of laying off their staff, they also reduced it, CEO salaries. So they tried. They tried to not lay off people by reducing pay for the top staff.
I think there's a part of that where they say that 20% is like 30 people.
Yeah.
I'm not saying it's a size thing, but I'm saying when you're at that scale as a company, chances are you all know the CEO and interact with him on a much more personable level than Jim Ryan told me to go fuck myself.
Yeah.
So it's probably
or a Bungie moment where they got probably like 500 people and they can just go in a video letter. Yeah, no, we didn't think we're not the type of company to cut CEO salaries.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So my optimistic take is that because you're working much closer with all the people that are affected by your decisions, are more likely to make decisions that benefit all the people you work with closely.
Yeah. When it's a much smaller studio like that, then yeah, you've got to act like a good person.
Can you imagine the short like 3 or 4 years from now where Pirate Software is talking about how to lay off employees?
Come on, man.
And with his velvety voice, he actually makes it sound like a good thing.
It's like life advice for laying off someone.
Grim, I'll be honest with you, big fella.
You take one of his shorts about like just go make games, and then you just add a little bit at the end of it. So like just go make games elsewhere.
So can we move?
He's got to do it, but not here.
Can we move on from the death of people's livelihoods to the death of a platform?
Oh, here it fucking comes. Oh, hang on. Oh, dang. All right.
Best segue of the episode, ladies and gentlemen.
Let me have it.
Actually, you know what? Mini prize giving. Your reward, Seth, is that you get to edit the entire episode.
Oh, hell yeah. I love that. Do I get paid?
Why? You love doing it for free.
Look, Seth, we're not the type of podcast that reduces.
We're not the type of podcast to pay the editor.
Yeah.
Look, we all sell our labor in different ways.
You're not that guy, pal, trust me.
Yours.
You know what? You're right. Time is my most valuable resource. I'm going to leave this podcast right now to go play Final Fantasy.
No, nobody said that.
Well, hold on. Let Tim cook.
Wait, hang on. What article are you talking about now?
We're talking about the Xbox podcast that happened.
Yeah, okay, good, fantastic. You said Tim, and I'm like, who? Tim Cook from Epic Games. Yeah, I'll talk about this one. Because as the resident Xbox stan here, I have a duty of care.
Tim Cook's Apple, isn't he?
Is he? I don't know. I'll be honest with you.
Yeah, Tim Sweeney is the Epic guy.
Yeah, okay.
I was just going to let Steven stew on being wrong for a moment.
Did you just say Tim Sweeney was Epic? That's epic, bro. I'm going to get edited out this week, aren't I?
I'm sorry. All I heard was moo.
Okay, so, Seth, I got to recount my last statement. We're not the type of podcast that increases editor pay. We are the type that will reduce pay from Steve just because he's being a fuckwit. So, I mean...
wait. So if his pay is getting reduced, that goes into the negatives. Does that mean we're taking money from him, and by technicality, I'm getting paid?
I think it's we're getting paid. It's podcast, not
your money,
cast.
Our money, comrade.
It's our cast. But anyway, yeah, enough shit talk for a bit. I
have his credit card number. I just need you to remove enough teeth so that it gives you the CVV number.
Teeth? Anyway, so Xbox gave us that big update on their podcast about the future of what the Xbox platform looks like. They gave it to us in a podcast form on their official Xbox podcast, which is... it was a way to control the narrative because all those rumors were coming out that Microsoft was never going to do an exclusive ever again, that they were going to shut down physical media and rah.
Which they have, kind of, because...
Yeah, maybe that's for the best part.
The games that they've shut down their physical media team, and all of these games that are going multi-platform are being published through limited run games.
Maybe that's for the best. But anyway, so they've pretty much announced that only 4 Xbox games are going multi-platform.
For now.
Well, for now, and really, they're probably just testing the market to see what it is. So it's
hold on. We can't say what they are because they weren't detailed in this podcast.
Of course.
They have to. The developers have to tell us how they're going. Like they have a vision of how they're going to be announced. So we will announce it at a later time in a grand fashion.
Oh, and I really appreciated that. Like,
what is wrong with you?
Well, no, hang on. So there's marketing that goes sort of into these type of things. And like, I think it's probably one of those things.
To spoil it a little bit, it would have been literally because Nintendo would have crushed them if they had said it.
Yeah, and it's probably that they don't want to talk about it because of the non-disclosure agreements, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, Nintendo probably had locked in the two that they got to announce.
Yeah, and as we'll talk in the next article, that the Nintendo did do a direct and Nintendo did announce, I'm not sure the right word, but announce 2 games that were coming to the Nintendo Switch. So they probably were locked in. I honestly don't think that Xbox needed to really say anything about that. They did kind of reiterate through that Game Pass isn't coming to the PS5 or Switch, so they're kind of happy with their service. The Xbox brand will continue to live on, and they're doing investigations about exclusivity deals.
They also flat out mentioned that Starfield and Indiana Jones were not those 4 games, which I want to throw in for a moment that the rumors around Starfield wasn't that it was going to be coming anytime soon. It was going to be coming when they do a Game of the Year edition. So these 4 games are like immediate coming soon, like in the next 2 months, essentially. Starfield wouldn't be happening for like another 6 to 8 months, I think. So that's a long way off for them to turn around and go, no, so we decided we're going to do Starfield after all. But for now, the narrative is Starfield isn't coming. Xbox players get to be happy that they get to keep their toy.
But it's such a... yeah, like I said it when they announced they were going to do this. I'll say it again. Like, who fucking cares, man? Like, if you're going to start screaming and crying because my game is coming out to a different console in 12 months, like, what the fuck are you doing, man? I am begging you, please go outside and touch grass. Good, and maybe this is just my ignorance, but Seth, when Sony starts releasing games on like PC, do like all the Sony stands? Do they just?
Oh yeah, no, they do. There is a big chunk of Sony fans that whinge about Sony games going to PC. It's quieted down, but when it first happened, it was really bad.
And Xbox games really aren't exclusive anyway because they come to PC. So
it's essentially console exclusives, which let's get through the podcast first. I have thoughts about that I want to talk about.
Yeah,
and it'll go into detail.
Yeah, and they also announced that Diablo 4 is coming to Xbox Game Pass. Very cool.
That felt like their big thing to go, hey, look, we got something. We got some positive news here. It's not all doom and gloom. Yeah. Like Blizzard games are coming now.
Yeah, and the big things I get the feeling that you want to touch on is they kind of contradicted themselves. They are having some Xbox layoffs. Well, they did. It was like, what, 1,900 people?
Yeah, it was 1,900 people.
Yeah, and realistically, that's probably because of duplication and redundancies are needed because of the...
We talked about this before. It wasn't just duplications and redundancies.
Yeah, it was, blah, blah, blah. But yeah, like they said they had to do this because like the industry wasn't growing and they're in sort of a bit of a tight spot. But then they said, oh yeah, we've got the highest possible count, well, the highest count that we've ever had on Xbox Game Pass.
Yep, highest growth rate. PC is doing fantastic. Double-digit growth rate on PC and cloud. We are kicking ass.
Yeah, which is very interesting that they won't release the fucking numbers. You can say that you're at an all-time high, but if you're like 1% higher than last year, it's not big.
They did give a number, and it's that Xbox Game Pass is at 32 million. I will touch on that later as well.
What does that fucking mean? Yeah, that's pretty much the base of it. It's just all standard stuff that they're working on a next-gen platform, which you all know about because of the leaks from the FTC case. There's games coming out this year from Xbox first party, whatever the fuck that means, because this Xbox first party releases is fucking 400 developers at the moment, or 400 publishers.
Hold on, that just reminded me as well. The funniest thing they said on this part was that now that they own Activision, if you look at their game releases, they are the biggest publisher on PlayStation and Xbox. Like, they get to claim that they published all those games on PlayStation and Nintendo.
And they will.
It is the same energy as when Bethesda came out on stage and said they invented the FPS genre because they bought ID Software, and the ID Software made Doom.
Look, it's not wrong. And let's leave it
is
at that.
wrong. they did not do the work to publish those games there.
But who owns them? And that's all that matters. Yeah, but that's all right, let it all out, Saif. Let it all out.
Okay, so I'll go from the smaller talking points to the bigger ones, I guess. So the next gen Xbox, I think Microsoft is locked into doing next gen no matter what. If they go further than that, I don't know, but I think it's too late for them to go, no, we're going to get out of the 10th generation of consoles.
This generation of consoles just came out, it feels like. It has been like, what,
the rumor is that they're going to try and jumpstart the next one early like they did with the Xbox 360. So Sony is planning like 2027 or 2028 for the PS6, which is still 3 to 4 years away, so that still feels pretty significant. Xbox apparently is going to try and jumpstart in 2026, which is 2 years away, and they want like the 1 to 2 year lead on Sony to try and get ahead in console sales.
Yeah.
Good luck.
And don't forget, Gen 10 starts when the Switch 2 comes out, so Nintendo's always been ahead, even though they really play in their own game.
The Switch 2 is the starting gun of the next console race.
Yeah. Nintendo's already sold 100 million consoles.
and this is executive speak, but they're saying that it's going to be the biggest leap in hardware technology between generations, which is look,
what is that? That's not real. Like,
I don't think we're ever going to get anything as big as jumping from the SNES to the Nintendo 64, going from 2D to 3D. That is a massive technology leap that I don't think can be duplicated.
Oh yeah, and well, PS5 to PS6 is going 3D to 4D, so fuck you.
And then on top of that, I think there's also like a massive leap in visual fidelity going from the early 3D consoles to the PS2, GameCube, and Xbox.
Yeah.
I don't think anything is going to be as big as those two jumps in console generations.
Yeah, like there might be stuff like city destruction or something they can do like in the processing type of power, which would be cool, but to say that like
you just meant like they just take out a city as like a warning shot.
I think they're going to try and do some AI
Xbox
stuff
we
in
take
there.
Out your city.
Like Nvidia does some AI fake frame generation shit that Xbox will probably try and jump on as well.
Well, I mean, remember, Microsoft owns GitHub, which has Copilot, which they've tried to slam into like, I don't know if you guys updated Windows 11 recently, but
dog shit, absolute fucking dog shit.
Copilot's now on your desktop.
I know, how dog shit is it?
It also watches me while I sleep, which I assume is a feature. I'm not quite sure.
Well, I hope it does watch me when I sleep, because it doesn't help me at all. Every time I try to use it, it just takes up half the fucking homepage of Bing.
Imagine using Bing.
I use it on my my work PC so I get Microsoft rewards points.
Which those have been going down the shitter as well, haven't they? The Microsoft rewards points.
Yeah, they've gone from like 40 to 5.
You see, in the middle of the layoffs, Microsoft actually laid off a lot of Steve's gaming points.
Unironically, true. Still got my 200,000 gamer score where it is, but the rewards points are not looking good.
Yeah, but the point is, I agree with you. I reckon AI will play a part in it, but it's also to say that, yes, it could be hardware side with just shit like NVIDIA just going crazy. Or, at least in Microsoft's case, it's very easy because they, within that umbrella, own I think, shit, I don't remember how much of OpenAI they ended up purchasing, but they've got like a close agreement with OpenAI. So it would be weird if that didn't worm its way somehow into the next Xbox. Sony, I think
they're looking at what. And sorry, you finish.
Well, I was going to say Sony. I'm not so sure on. I know that they had a couple of like AI like labby type things. Like there was that big thing with Gran Turismo of like, hey, we use AI to do like even better driving simulator rivals ghosts. That was it. Even better simulator ghosts. And Nintendo, I imagine, doesn't really know what AI is. They're like permanently 15 years in the past.
Yeah. Well, they're permanently making games that are fun.
That too.
That unironically true though.
That will be the big thing. Like,
I just love how like
slop games will come.
The idea of like 1 or 2 console generations from now, Nintendo's going to be like, guys, we think we could put AI into a console. Meanwhile, humanity's already been wiped out and they're literally just selling to Terminators.
You reckon Terminators will play video games?
I reckon. Well, let's see. Terminators.
They got to do something when they wipe out humanity.
Yeah. What do we reckon? We get some like Mario Strikers going. Oh no, Mario Party. I reckon they'd probably be. They could probably do button mashing pretty well.
They wouldn't use Mario because he's human. They'd use Android-io.
I think they would really appreciate Robot Vietnam and Helldivers too.
Did you just say Chris Pratt?
You know what? I did.
Okay, so getting back on topic, the second thing I want to mention is the Game Pass numbers. So the last time we had a Game Pass update was, I think it was during the FTC trials. It was at 25 million Game Pass subscriptions. So you look at today the podcast update and you're like, oh, so the subscriptions went up. But something that they didn't mention is that between that time they made Xbox Live Gold a part of Game Pass as well. It's called Game Pass Core. That's
right. Yes.
So that's the 25 million plus 17 million users that were on Xbox Live Gold. So that would have gone up to 39 million. And you'd think, oh, well, it should have, like, they're saying Game Pass went up, so it should have been higher than that. But they're hiding the number by going, no, with these combined users, we now have higher than we used to report. But it's still lower income because like 7 million people dropped off their services.
How many of them were you, Steve?
3.
Thank you for being so honest.
So yeah, that was like another instance of like CEO talk. Numbers went up, but hiding the fact that number actually went down. And then just good. The last one is getting into the talk of like exclusivity and the nature of that. And yet, like Phil Spencer said in the podcast that true exclusives are going to be dying off in the future, which I agree with to an extent. Nintendo is going to be permanently in there. We will only ever release on Nintendo consoles. You will not get us anywhere else. The reason you buy Nintendo hardware is to buy Nintendo games. So that just means that the other side of the industry is looking at Xbox and Sony. Sony does staggered releases between console and PC, but after their earnings call meetings, it sounds like they're going to start going more day and date. Games will be cross-platform, PlayStation and PC, and Xbox already does that, so that's like, well, console exclusives are a thing then because it's not going to the other console, which means if you're only, like, what I'm trying to get at is that PC gaming is...
you're winning.
If you're PC, you're winning, but PC gaming is expensive. That's like truly, truly enthusiast hardware. If you're just going quick, I want to get a console because it's cheaper than getting a PC and it'll just do everything I want, then it's picking between PlayStation and Xbox. And the reasons you would pick one up over the other is what console exclusives they have. And with this, I think the conversation shifts even worse for Xbox now because, like, even though Sony will do cross-platform releases on PlayStation and PC, they're still not going to put their games on Xbox. So even if it's like, oh yeah, so Indiana Jones is going to come to Xbox first, and you get it free with Game Pass, it's like, on Xbox, you're looking at, oh, well, I can get Starfield and Indiana Jones right now. Or you look at PlayStation, it's like, I can get Spider-Man 2 right now and The Last of Us remake right now. And then a year from now, I can get Starfield and Indiana Jones when Xbox decides they're going to put them out on those consoles. And I think that gives less of a reason to get an Xbox console since it's eventually everything is just going to come to PlayStation, whereas it's not everything is going to come to Xbox.
Yeah. And we finally won.
But who finally won?
Nintendo.
But yeah, that's my long elaborate roundabout way of saying if you're just getting a console, it makes more sense. Like Xbox has just gone. It makes more sense to get a PlayStation over our console now.
Yeah, it does kind of.
Like, is Game Pass a big enough sell to justify missing out on a bunch of exclusives that you can just get on PlayStation and then also get the Xbox games later?
Yeah. There we go. No,
well,
it's always been bad tidings for us Xbox gamers, but
I reckon ever since they decided that they wanted to name a console 360, they got away with it with the 360, but then ever since then, it's just been downhill.
Yeah, we went from the Xbox 360 back to the Xbox One. They rebooted their hardware, and now their console is just the Xbox.
It's true.
What's in the box?
X
But
in the
yeah,
box.
so something I forgot to put in the news docket as well is that there's leaks going around now that they're going to put out a revised Series X sometime this year. That's going to be a white console that's all digital.
The Series S never needed to fucking happen. They should have shelved it. Dumb. I can understand what they were trying to do, but never fucking worked.
Oh no, I said Series X.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, but you're right. The Series S shouldn't have happened.
Yeah, no, that doesn't take away from anything that you just said, Steve.
Yeah, no, sorry. Yeah,
The Series S is why it took Baldur's Gate so long to come to Xbox.
Yeah, and there was also, was it Starfield that also had issues with
the Series S had
X?
with issues with saving. And Halo as well had problems.
Halo
as well
Infinite
with it.
doesn't have split screen because of the Series S.
Yeah, that's right.
But anyway, enough about Xbox. I'm done. Let's talk about Nintendo. Yeah, we good to move on?
We are good to move on.
After Steph had a bit of a rant, I get it. You don't like Xbox.
No, I want Xbox to do well because Sony needs the competition. If Xbox dies out, that leaves the market for Sony to just do whatever the fuck they want, and they kind of already do that.
Sounds like you should buy an Xbox. Maybe buy 3 Xboxes, Steph.
No, they need to give me a reason to buy an Xbox.
All right, fair point. But anyway, so Nintendo did a partner showcase last week. What do you think, fellas?
It was fun.
Me too.
There's a few things there that I enjoy.
That's the thing with like Nintendo Showcase is that there's so much, I'm not going to say crap, but so much stuff that I just don't, it just doesn't even exist on my radar. Like I'm sure it's good for like
there's something for everyone here, but at the same time that means a big chunk of it is not for you. You just get like 2 minutes out of this 20-minute presentation.
That's so much a better way of saying it than me about to just say to everyone that doesn't think of the games that I like are good or just have L takes. So yeah, thank you for that, Saif. Speaking of the games that are for us and no one else, were there any highlights that people want to share?
So as a resident
Tensei 5 Vengeance.
I was going to say, Stephen, as a resident Xbox person, do you want to tell us what Nintendo got to reveal from those 4 games?
So Nintendo got to reveal Grounded. Very fucking surprising because don't think that anybody asked for that.
No one asked for that, but that was it. That was one of the big rumored games because they said 2 live service games and 2 single player games.
Yeah,
and so Grounded made sense as a live service.
Yeah. I just don't think it's going to be good for the Switch. And Pentiment as well, which I've heard is very, very good. And apparently, from my a couple of friends that have played Pentiment, they reckon they're playing it on the Switch just for the portability of it and the pick up play element. Is probably be fucking fantastic for it.
Sony did one tweet about Pentiment coming to PlayStation, and that's more marketing than Xbox ever did for the game. I am not joking about that. Yeah,
Pentiment's one of those games that it was like 2021 or 22 whenever it came out. It was on a bunch of people's Game of the Year list.
And no one had heard of it because
no
Xbox never talked about it.
Yeah, which is so weird because it's like a Ubisoft game as well.
No, it's Obsidian.
Sorry, Obsidian. It didn't make sense that it came to Game Pass day one as well. It got all these really good reviews. It seems like it's a really good game, but no one fucking talked about it. But yeah, maybe people should check that out if they're interested.
But yeah, SMT5.
Yeah, so SMT5, a game that's already been on the Switch for 3 or 4 years. It's getting don't want to know what you'd fucking call it.
It's essentially a remake. Because
don't call it that. The game's been out for 3 years.
No, because it's doing a whole new story mode that is just a new 80 to 100 hour story with 2 paths.
Yeah,
it is a whole new game that they've added into it.
Yeah, it's not even like what they do with like the personas, like with like a royal or golden, and they add
they just add one semester in those.
Yeah, it's not even a semester in golden. It's just an extra character type of thing.
No, there's a whole new. Actually, yeah, there is a whole new dungeon, but I don't think it's a semester. It's like a holiday period.
Yeah, it's a holiday period as well. They add, with Marie and all that. But yeah, like it's interesting how they pretty much essentially just pick your path. Yeah, so it's called SMT5 Vengeance. There was leaks a year or two ago that this would be coming to Game Pass, which I'd fucking love. Well, sorry, the base SMT5 would be coming to Game Pass. There's been no announcement so far.
I don't think the base SMT5 is coming. I think it's just going to be this.
So it's just this, and this is coming everywhere, and that's pretty interesting because it's sort of been locked to the Switch for the last couple of years.
Yeah, something that I find interesting as well is that after the announcement, the developers did like a stream where they talked about this, and they said, so SMT5 came out in a very rough state because we had development issues, and we were very unhappy with the state of the game when it came out, so we've been working to improve it and make this version the definitive version.
Yeah, the definitive version, that's how I describe it, the definitive version, not a fucking remake.
The reason I call it a remake is because they essentially did a whole new 80-hour story. Like, that's essentially remaking the story. But yeah, I had a friend that played this at launch, and he liked the gameplay, but he said the story was dog shit. So giving it a second chance will probably do a lot for this.
Yeah. The South Park Battlefront, the original Battlefront games 1 and 2 got announced as a classic collection as well, which is fucking fantastic. Those games are fan-fucking-tastic. Number 1, not so much. I reckon that's aged like milk on a 40-degree day. But number 2, from what I remember, and it probably is nostalgia, but holy fucking shit, so fucking fun.
It's coming to Switch and PlayStation because the Xbox version has back compat, so they didn't put it on there.
Which is very strange because I don't think you can even buy it on the Xbox store.
Also because this version has new content.
That
makes it even stranger that they didn't do it on Xbox because it's like, well, now the Xbox players, they might have the back compat version, but they're missing out of playing as Kit Fisto.
Yeah, I know. What will we do? We'll have to find out. Getting fisted some other way.
Also, somehow they made this collection 50 gigabytes. Two PS2 games does not equal 50 gigabytes.
No, it's true.
No,
I picked up the Battlefront, I think it might have just been Battlefront 2 on Steam ages ago, and I played it a little bit when I first picked it up, but that's like I think like 8 gigs-ish, I think.
Yeah, something along those lines.
It would have been like that, yeah.
Which is crazy, because you think about what's in that game now, and you're like, there is no way that they would make that same game, even if they tried making the same graphics for less than 30 gigs.
I mean, yeah, we literally got the proof. They just put it out there right now, and it's 50 gigs.
Of being alive.
But yeah, that's pretty much it. I don't really care about anything else. I think it was very rogue that they did like a South Park trailer for Snow Day.
It gave me an impression of what that game is now. I had no idea what that South Park Snow Day game was before this. I thought it was going to be like some weird South Park online snowball fighter shooter. But now it looks like it's going to be a Dungeon Defenders type of game. And that's more interesting to me than what I made up in my head before.
But yeah, that's anything else from you fellas? What about you, Pat?
I mean, I'm always happy that more people want to play Monster Hunter. Can't speak to the quality of Monster Hunter Stories 1, which was part of the announcement, but
there's no reason to play Monster Hunter Stories 1. Monster Stories 2 exists.
Yeah, but I want to see the story play out sequentially.
Number 1 doesn't relate to number 2.
Number
2 doesn't. Yeah,
I will play 1 before I play 2.
You're never going to play these games, don't lie.
I think 2 goes on sale quite frequently.
It does.
It does. That was how I got it. Actually, Steve, it was you saying that you got it on sale when I got it at the same time.
Fantastic. Fan-fucking-tastic. You love to hear it.
Yeah.
Was it 75% off?
I would think it was like, it's Nintendo Switch game. It'll never go 75% off. I think it was 50%.
Yeah, it was good enough that I bought it without thinking too hard.
Actually, no, because I got mine in 2022, and it was like a weird semi 2-for-1 deal on Amazon because I got the physical edition with Animal Crossing.
I think they must have just had a discount because I got it on Amazon as the physical copy as well, and it was just discounted heavily without needing to do anything else.
Yeah, I think I paid $70 for the both of them or something. It was a pretty good deal.
Yeah, I think I paid like 40 to 50 for Stories 2. Anyway, getting on topic.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, I gotta be honest, there hasn't been a huge number of Switch games that have caught my fancy, like even just recently in general. Switch is feeling a little bit underused. Part of that is just because I keep defaulting back to playing more of, like Monster Hunter or something on the ROG, which can't do that for a bit now. But the ones that looked interesting, at least, one, I'm surprised that someone felt the need to put paid DLC in Suika game. I can sort of see the appeal of local multiplayer, but I also think the hype train's gone well past that. That the idea of if you're still playing Suika game, you're probably playing it yourself and not playing it with other people. So local multiplayer DLC seems kind of weird. And the fact
Oh,
that
was it just local multiplayer? I thought it was adding online multiplayer.
Oh no, it probably is adding...
online is coming in the future, so that makes more sense.
Yeah. But still doing it as paid DLC is kind of odd. The other one, which is interesting, but I don't know if I'm going to pull the trigger on it or anything, but Endless Ocean Luminous looked kind of cool.
Yeah, I didn't know this was a sequel to a thing, and the thing it's a sequel to is a game I've never heard of. One moment while I scroll back up to it. Oh, sorry, your Endless Ocean is something completely different than what I'm thinking of.
I was going to say, I don't think this is a sequel.
I got it confused with Ender Magnolia for some reason.
Yeah, you're right, Seth. They do sound the same.
One's endless, one's ender.
Yeah, this one, it looks interesting. So here's my problem, right? I really liked Abzu, which came out, like 8 years, 10 years, whatever ago now. Another Annapurna banger. And my problem is, I liked that because of how good the graphics looked in its art style, which was like a little cartoony, but like the art style was very specific, I guess, is what I liked. And that looks great on Switch. This, I feel like they're trying to make it realistic, or like it seems like they are trying to take a more realistic art direction than a more kind of cartoony one. And the problem is, even in the screenshots in the trailer, it just looks like they hit the like limit of what the Switch can do on the way there.
Oh yeah, totally.
And so I would rather this game exist on a stronger console, because I think the concept is sound. I just wish if they were doing it on, well, obviously they are doing it on Switch, but that they didn't try and make it realistic and then put it on Switch. That if they wanted to do it realistic, put it on something that can handle it, and then make the Switch version, like, let the Switch version look less realistic, but have a more stylized art direction like Abzu.
I think that's too much work for these type of games.
No, I'm sure it is, but that's my issue in terms of, I see this and I'm like, oh, this game looks really interesting, and I look at the trailer and I just sort of know it's like that feeling you get of like you watch the trailer and like from the trailer you're like, I can get a pretty good grasp of what the game will be like from the trailer. And the problem is, because they tried to take a photorealistic art direction but use the Switch as the hardware, that combination doesn't engage me enough to want to buy this game unless it does something to wow me down the line.
Yeah, depending on if they scaled it correctly, this might just be something where it's future-proofed and on the Switch 2 it looks a lot nicer.
True, yeah, that could be the case as well. The whole like multiplayer angle or whatever just looks really derpy in the trailer. It's like, let's go explore some ruins, and it's just a fucking conga line of divers going through these ruins.
It's got that same sort of appeal as that one space game. I cannot remember the name of it, but memes were going around of it where the astronauts were just saying John Madden over and over again.
Oh.
Is that clicking any bells?
That sounds familiar, but I don't remember.
Moonbase Alpha.
Okay, that wasn't the one I was thinking of, but yeah, cool.
Yeah, Moonbase Alpha, I think, was just a game where you load... It's just you and a couple of friends load in and just explore the moon.
Nice.
And so it just became like this kind of meme game.
And it slowly zooms out and you realize that the moon is actually just one of John Madden's testicles.
Kinda, maybe. I never played it that long enough. In fact, I never played it at all. But it had like this, it had a very funny text-to-speech system in it, so people were just doing random shit in it, like doing all the vowels back to back, or going AU, or ooh, and then having it saying John Madden over and over again. So I can see the appeal of doing something derpy like this and doing it underwater instead.
Every Twitch stream ever, which is www.
Oh yeah, no, that's just how Japan does LOL.
Oh really?
Yeah, Japan's LOL is just a line of W's.
I have no comment.
Yeah, no comment either. Anyway, those were the couple that piqued my interest. Seth, round us out.
Yeah. So let me get back to the top of this pile. I will not call it the L word, but yeah, you guys have
No,
touched
Project
on.
L's a different thing. We talked about that already.
You guys have touched on mostly everything. The Unicorn Overlords demo is out. I've got to give that a try myself.
Yeah,
But
I'll give that a try as well.
Yeah, that having a demo now I think will do a better job of seeing if I'll be interested in the game or not. And it's one of those demos where it's just like the first chapter of the game and then you can transfer it to the full game later. Epic
That's
Mickey
pretty good.
getting a remake is pretty interesting.
Isn't that game like not very good though?
I hear it's fine.
That's not good. Not worth my time.
Yeah, not super good, but also not bad. It's just kind of like a decent platformer that was on the Wii.
That's not a Mario game, I guess.
Yeah. So it's something I've always been interested in trying, but also it was a Wii game, so no. So yeah, that getting a remake, we'll put it on my list eventually. It's coming out for, I think it was $50 or $60 US, so I'll wait for that to go on sale. Also, another on sale game for me will be Super Monkey Ball. Like, I'm not super keen on the Super Monkey Ball games, but they are small, delightful games that I'd like to pick up cheap.
That's true. And the Switch is actually pretty good for a game like that with very much the sort of like gyroscopic or motion-based like movement.
Yeah, but also it's just going to... I think that's just on everything, so I'll probably just pick it up on Steam. Penny's Big Breakaway got shadow dropped. I am not bitter about them shadow dropping that the same week that Final Fantasy VII Rebirth came out, and also a week where I had no money to pick it up.
Are you sure? Because you sound a little bit bitter.
No, definitely not bitter about that.
He said he's not bitter.
So you mind if we can't pay you for editing this week?
And all the rare games coming to Nintendo Switch Online. So that's all really neat stuff. Weirdly enough, they don't have the Donkey Kong games. So it's just it's Killer Instinct, RC Pro Am, Battletoads, Snake Rattle and Roll, and Blast Core. So it's a weird selection of rare games that are on there, but hopefully more of them come over soon.
And the biggest news that, once again, us living in the West are nothing but suffering, and Nintendo hates us, filthy fucking gaijins. Mother 3 was added to the Japanese Virtual Console, but was not given to us. So that is 20 years.
We never got it,
an English
so why would we
release
get it
of
now?
Mother 3. Lucas is in fucking Smash Brothers. Fuck's sake. Give us the fucking game. But they released Earthbound.
They did Earthbound Beginnings, which is Mother 1. They still haven't acknowledged Mother 3 over here.
But they did Mother 1 and Mother 2. Just fucking give us 3. How hard is it?
Pretty hard, I imagine, especially since they profit off the fan translation, since there is official merch that use the fan translation on it.
Really?
Yeah, that's something that's something I discovered recently, is that there's merch for Mother 3 that uses the fan translation lines in it.
And Nintendo sells that stuff, man. There. Anyway.
Blame Reggie. He's the one that stopped Mother 3 from being localized. Reggie, despite being a fun character on stage, made a lot of really bad decisions. He didn't want to localize Mother 3, and he really, really did not want to localize Xenoblade Chronicles, which ended up working in that game's favor because part of that game's charm is the European localization and voices.
Hang on, I googled Reggie Fils-Aimé Mother 3 just to see what would happen. And there's it's a post by Twitch saying, "What's the oldest game in your library that remains unplayed?" And it's Reggie replying, "Mother 3 English version."
He does not get to make that joke when he denied it.
I'm trying to find the source of like how he denied it.
He was the guy in charge of what got localized at that time. That's all it is.
I want to know like the reason, like if there is a reason.
It probably just came down to he didn't think it would sell.
What is this motherfucker here? What does he know?
But yeah, also from the Japanese Nintendo Directs, there was a game called Renatus that got announced there. They've since said that it's going to be localized here, coming in the fall. But I am super keen on this because it's just someone from a small development studio called Furyu. That looked at Final Fantasy Versus 13 looked at Verum Rex and then saw Nomura say, yeah, so I put Verum Rex on hold so I could make Kingdom Hearts 4. So he went, you know what? Fuck it. I'll do it myself. And he's making his own Versus 13. To the point where he got Kazushiki Nojima, who is a scenario writer on basically all of Nomura's games, Yoko Shimomura, who's the composer for all of Nomura's games, and Yusuke Naora, who did the key visuals for this game and did the artwork for Versus 13. He has literally gone, fuck it, I'll do it myself, and I will get everyone important that isn't Tetsuya Nomura because I cannot get him to do this.
Yeah, I'm just watching some of the trailers now. It looks like all right. I'm not sure whether it's a video I'm watching. It just seems it looks very. Not sure if stylized is the right word.
It's it looks pretty rough because it's using the Switch footage. It's coming to PS4, PS5, and PC as well later, so it'll end up looking better than what's in this trailer. But also, I played a Furyu game before. It was Monarch. This will be a budget game. It still looks like it's got fun combat to it, so I'll be keen to give it a try. But I'm not expecting the world from it. It's just a situation of, holy shit, I get 2 cakes used with this sort of setting.
Yeah. Yeah. It's not coming to the West. So.
It is. They announced that it's getting a localization in fall.
The fuck wasn't it in the direct then?
Fuck if I know. Probably didn't think it would sell in the West.
Then why local? It doesn't matter then.
No, I mean Nintendo probably didn't think it would sell in the West, so they didn't bother advertising it. It's weird. Nintendo does this sometimes where they show off a game in the Japanese directs that doesn't get shown in the Western direct, and everyone looks at it and goes, well, why didn't you show this? I think the last time they did a partner direct, it was like one of the Atelier games got shown off in the Japan one and didn't get shown off in the West.
Yeah, it's all shovelware. It seems anyway.
But yeah. We mentioned, well, Steven mentioned Pentiment and Grounded got announced, and Phil Spencer made a big deal about how the developers are going to announce these things on their own terms. Pentiment and Grounded got shown off in the Nintendo Direct. They did a blog post for Hi-Fi Rush and Sea of Thieves coming to other consoles. They didn't get any big fancy. Well, Hi-Fi Rush got a trailer. It's a neat little trailer, but yeah, before that trailer came out, it was just here's a blog post about it.
As in Xbox put out a blog post about it after going like a day later after saying, oh yeah, we'll let the teams announce that when they're ready. And then it's like, fuck it. Blog post. Very, very fucking strange thing doing.
I don't know about you, but blog posts are my favorite way of hearing about game announcements. I will read about it in an email.
I hate trailers.
But yeah, Pentiment coming to everything on February 22nd, so it's already out. Hi-Fi Rush is only coming to PlayStation 5 on March 19 and is available for pre-order now. Grounded, April 16 it comes to everything, and Sea of Thieves will be April 30 for PlayStation 5.
Cool. Yeah, we good with Nintendo?
We got one more Nintendo thing.
We good with that part of the Nintendo thing?
We're good with that part of the Nintendo thing.
All right, tell us what the chaser is to the definitely not L word, Seth.
The last Nintendo thing we have on the docket today is that the Nintendo Switch, by all accounts, is being delayed to the first quarter of 2025.
Is delayed the right word? It has not been announced.
It hasn't been announced, but internally Nintendo was aiming for late 2024, but they've since internally delayed it to essentially, it sounds like March next year is where they're going to hit it. And the reasoning sounding like they want to make sure that the launch lineup is ready for the Switch too.
Oh, that's the classic Nintendo thing, yeah.
Yeah, it sounds like the hardware was ready to go, but the games were not, so they're pushing it back like 4 to 6 months to make sure that everything lines up and the Switch 2 gets to take off as well as they hope they can.
I can't believe that they're pushing 4 to 6 months back just so that we can get Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League on Switch.
You joke, but the Wii U launched with the Batman Arkham City Armored Edition.
I never played that.
Seth, I've never made a joke in this on this podcast in my life.
What? Well,
Oh, so you were serious about Steven and the 14-year-olds?
No, I'm begging you, fellas. You got to stop this. I'm begging you.
Yeah, it is going to be interesting because, as we just talked about, in terms of jumping the gun with the console race and everything, Nintendo is saying that it may not arrive until 2025. It's still ahead of when the other players are thinking about their refresh. Like I think we might have come up previous episode or so, but there's like fairly strong rumors of a PS5 Pro coming out sometime this year as the kind of stopgap before the next console generation overhaul from Sony's side.
Yeah. And then there's going to be a Series X refurbish this year as well, being heavily rumored.
Yeah.
Which I don't think is going to even have a hardware bump. It's just doing an all-digital Series X.
Wahoo. Yeah, so it is... I guess it's kind of interesting and also not surprising at all that Nintendo's just kind of doing their own thing as they've always done.
And also the Switch one came out in March and took off. Most people didn't think it would take off in that season because it's like, well, you got to get a console out for the holiday season. That's when it'll sell the most. And Nintendo flipped that on its head and went, you know what, March, that's a good time. And it worked out for them.
I still remember going to the midnight launch for that.
Was it any good?
It was alright. Yeah, it was the busiest EB Games I've ever been in. Certainly not that busy now.
I think the busiest I've ever been for an EB Games was the GTA 5 midnight launch.
That was fucking busy as. Wow, very sweaty. Very sweaty.
It wasn't even for me. I was picking it up for my brother.
Yeah. Because when that came out, for me, that was like school exams and things, and suddenly everyone became really sick and not able to attend school. They'd be fine for the exam, they just couldn't attend school that day. They were sick with something random and then got over it in like a day or two.
Holy shit, I can't believe that the Western version of Dragon Quest is GTA.
Is that what they do in Japan, I guess?
Yeah. Dragon Quest release dates are essentially national holidays. Because everyone just calls off sick for it.
Oh, do we want to quickly tack on the Yuzu thing with this as well?
Right, yeah, I forgot to put that on the docket. Yeah, let's tack that on right now.
Sweet. Nintendo's going to war.
Yeah, if you emulate games, you're in trouble. Good thing no one on this podcast emulates Nintendo games.
Yeah, God, could you imagine? I mean, 1/3 of us emulates games, so statistically 1/3 of the population does it, right, Saif?
Yeah, not going to mention who it is, Stephen.
I don't know what you're talking about.
See, Mr. Nintendo, we don't know what's going on with Yuzu. Never heard of it in our lives.
There was that whole big thing with Dolphin, and then Nintendo's like, hey, don't make us get the stick, and then Dolphin's like, yeah, okay, put the stick away. We capitulate, but... this users thing seems like to be on another level. I don't know the full details of this. This is like fairly recent news.
I'm skimming the article right now, but from things I've heard is
downloading. Not illegally downloading.
They're saying that Yuzu hurts the sales of The Legend of Zelda: Tears of the Kingdom because illegal ROMs of Tears of the Kingdom were downloaded 1 million times before release. And I look at Tears of the Kingdom sales figures and I'm like, that didn't damage you at all. Yeah. You're lying.
They could have sold a couple more, though.
Okay, Seth, to play devil's advocate, in Nintendo's defense, number go up, but because of Yuzu, number not go up much.
Number didn't go up fast enough.
Yeah,
I would say that I would be out there to say that the people that emulated it were just sampling it because it was out early and then went out and bought the game legitimately.
All right. Anyway, tell us about Yuzu.
Yeah, so Nintendo just wants everything from Yuzu. They want the URLs, they want the chat rooms, they want the social media presence, they want the domain names, and they want the hard drives just so they can wipe all of it out. They don't want Yuzu existing anymore. And they also want lots and lots of money in damages from Yuzu. They're going for the throat.
Well, I keep hearing, and it's still semi-early as well, that like Nintendo doesn't really have a case here because like what, it was 20 years or 25 years now with the whole PlayStation emulation stuff that like it's not really gonna stop them.
Yeah, Yuzu doesn't facilitate pirating, and emulators
Yeah.
are legal. Like Yuzu specifically says, hey, do not use pirated software. You have to supply all of these stuff yourself. So it's
And
not
surely that's
on
the
them.
get out of jail free card. Yeah.
Yeah, it's not on them if people go and actually use downloaded keys and ROMs and stuff. Like legally, they cannot be held accountable for that.
Yeah. It is a funny that they're drawing the link. Oh, hey, your money went up before Tears of the Kingdom came out, when it was leaking out. But I think this is just Nintendo in their sort of, oh shit, we got to go after leakers. Oh, we can't get the leaker. Let's get the software. It'd be very interesting to see how this plays out.
Yeah.
I also, yeah, I'm always going through this, like from a Pokemon point of view, because there's a bunch of like good ROM hacks coming out for like Brilliant Diamond, Shining Pearl, and even Scarlet and Violet and Sword and Shield are having their.
I saw that Small Ant dropped a ROM hack video in the last couple of days. I think it was Small Ant. Shit, if that wasn't Small Ant, then I've blended all of the PokeTubers together. But someone apparently has a new ROM hack that took them ages to beat, and I don't know if it's more difficult than I guess Kaizo Emerald or whatever the like.
No, he did like a an Iron Mode ROM, which is like it's not. I watched it yesterday while I was eating my dinner. It's fucking insane. It's literally it took me like 1,100 tries over.
Yeah, that was it. That was it. That was Small Ant.
Yeah, it was Small Ant.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. It's fucking insane. Like you can only use one Pokemon. If it faints, you got to restart. It's randomized.
Holy shit!
Like the stats are randomized. The moves are randomized. It's fucking insane. Recommend anybody checking it out. But anyway, so there's a bunch of like ROM hacks for like Brilliant Diamond, Shining Pearl because that's built in Unity and it's very easy to ROM hack it. And it'd be very interesting to sort of see if it's like, oh hey, like while they're here, will they kind of use to piggyback on that? Be like, oh, they're editing our software. I'm still interested to see where it goes.
Yeah, it says in this article that there's a chance that Nintendo could win because they could be going on the grounds that Yuzu only exists to circumvent Nintendo's control of their IPs. And in that specific case, they might have a case.
Bit of a big bow to draw, I reckon. Yeah, let's see how we go.
Well, as we always say, no one hates Nintendo fans more than Nintendo, so...
It's true.
That is very true. Hell, this changed the Smash community.
They will continue to complain about Nintendo not supporting them and then play the game anyway.
That's insane. Yeah, that's... Nintendo literally gives them fucking nothing and literally hinders their gameplay, like tournaments and community, and they still fucking play that game. Like it's...
Hungry Box looked at $1 million Capcom tournament and went, gee, it would be nice if Nintendo supported us like that. Like, you have 20 years of experience knowing they will not support you like that.
Seth, you don't understand. Nintendo would put up the $1 million if it wasn't for absolute parasites like Yuzu, just going and eating into all their profit.
It's people that are pirating. Nintendo can't actually afford to help the Smash community.
Imagine the idea that there's more piracy going on here than there is in Skull and Bones.
Also, because I brought it up, hey, quick side tangent. The guy that won the $1 million from Capcom Cup is a huge VTuber fan, and they invited him to Red Bull Kumite after he won that, and he went.
I don't know any of these words.
Red Bull Kumite is an invite-only tournament where they only invite like the top players, and so he's currently the number one person, and he's like. Yeah, no, I probably won't go to that because the HoloLive 5th anniversary event is happening and it's also my birthday. And I'm just like, you know what? You just won $1 million. You get to take a break. You don't have to play Street Fighter again for a long, long time.
Doesn't have to fucking play HoloLive. I don't know what HoloLive is.
Hollow Knight.
I didn't ask. I didn't ask. I'm begging you, Seth. I didn't fucking ask.
Patrick was the one that was stuttering over the word HoloLive.
What?
He's going to say Hollow Knight, though.
Yeah. I was going to make a joke about Silksong still not being here yet, despite it coming this year to Xbox. What I was going to say is that you're looking at it from the wrong side, Seth. It's not someone wins $1 million. It's that the government suddenly found $500,000.
Shit, you're right.
Yeah, it's fucking
pay your taxes, kids.
Yeah, a lot of Pokemon VGC players, when they win a prize money, it's like sometimes they don't get told how much taxes comes out of it. They'll be given like they're supposed to win like $5,000, and they'll get like $2,000, and it's like, where the rest of it? And it's like, I don't know. Like they don't give the breakdown or anything.
Fell off a truck.
Then they have to claim their winnings for tax purposes. And then apparently sometimes the American government's like, we didn't tax that beforehand, we're taxing it again.
So they have to get grim.
So they have to get like an itemized receipt from Nintendo, or sorry, the Pokemon company. Like the second they get their prize money, and apparently like the Pokemon company just fucking drags their feet and takes fucking ages.
Of course they would.
To get that to them, which makes no fucking sense.
Patrick, on top of the government suddenly finding $500,000 in tax money, Okami Mio is also going to find $500,000 in super chat donations. That is the whole live member that Street Fighter player absolutely loves. God bless you, Uma.
It's not that they find $500,000. It's that the government found another $250,000. Like it's crazy. It's amazing. The government can just find money like that. There was a joke that Tarek, professional CS:GO / Valorant player, used to talk about where like it was a big deal winning a CS:GO major a couple years ago. Don't remember how many years ago now. And he was splitting I think it was a 100K prize fund. So he was splitting it with like him. He's part of a team, so like 5 members of the team plus the coach, and then the org takes their cut, and then like all the other expenses. And so he talks about how like and then like traveling to the major and accommodation and food and everything from being at the event itself and the registration and all the other stuff. And he's like, yeah, by the end of it, I only owed my org 10K. It was great.
That's so grim.
Anyway, I guess we'll just have to sort of wait and see what happens with the Yuzu thing. I imagine it's going to be Nintendo garnishing someone's wages again if they win, just to increase the amount of slave.
Oh yeah, lifelong slavery to Nintendo.
Yeah, it's weird when you look at the breakdown of the 3 companies that Nintendo now owns non-zero numbers of slaves.
Non-zero.
Not a stat I thought I'd end up talking about, yet here we are. Anyway, moving on. Pokemon Direct. No, Pokemon Presents. I blended the 2 of them together. Kill me.
It's roughly the same thing. Yeah, so it was, as we're all probably very well aware and still recovering from the festivities, it was
Black and White and remakes announced. Woohoo!
Yeah, no, that didn't happen. So it was Pokemon's birthday the other day, as in when Pokemon Red and Green were released in Japan. I believe it's their 26th or 27th year. They're old fellas. Yeah, so every Pokemon Day they do a Pokemon Presents, and it's usually be like, hey, this is all the stuff we've got. Sometimes they announce a new game, sometimes they announce a new Pokemon, sometimes they announce a new movie or something. I thought it was a bit of a letdown, like it only goes to 12 minutes, and usually Pokemon Directs or Pokemon Presents or whatever they fucking call them go for about 30 or so, depending on what they're announcing. And this is like very
30 takes way too much stamina, man.
Yeah, and considering it was like 1 a.m. as well when it came out. But
and
yeah,
they've been drinking heavily.
Yeah, but there was nothing. Well, so they did a bunch of.
It was 90% updating on their live service games.
Yeah, exactly.
And,
like
and 100% blue balling Gen 2 fans.
Yeah, so there's some Pokemon Go stuff, some Pokemon Masters EX stuff. And it's funny with Masters EX, they're bringing a different version of Silver. I think his name is. Yeah, Silver.
Yeah, Silver.
The rival from Gen 2. And then in Pokemon Sleep, they announced Raikou coming, and then the other legendary dogs. Everyone's like, holy shit, like they're making either a Gen 2 remake or a Legends Celebi. And then they just like, nah, fuckers, Gen 6 remakes. It's not, okay, so to be fair, it's not a Gen 6 remake. It is Pokemon Legends ZA or ZA. Yeah, or Pizza or whatever. Zeta.
See, when they showed the logo, I thought it was going to be Z Alpha. And then later on, they went, no, it's ZA.
I have no fucking clue what they were thinking. I'm kind
of 2
confused.
minds of this.
Yeah, I'm confused on the theming. Yeah, I'm confused on the theming of this game. Like, it seems to be doing like a bunch of sketchbook type of detail, like what Legends Arceus was, and like it's set in the past. But then it does this kind of Tron 3D type of view And it seems to be, and this we're getting conflicting information because I'm not sure if it's a translation error or Pokemon fans are jumping to different conclusions, or if they actually said this. But apparently, like, it is a Legend style game, and it's either set in, like, it says Lumios City is the setting, but it doesn't say that you can leave or you can't leave or you can explore the wider Kalos region.
I think one of the tweets specifically said entirely set in Lumios. But I still think that might mean Lumios and surrounding areas. Like, we won't go to any of the other towns or cities. It'll just be Lumios and maybe a couple of wild areas outside it. Kind of like how it was handled in Legends Arceus, where you had the main city and then you had like 4 or 5 areas you could go to catch Pokemon.
Yeah, and long-time fans will know that Birthray will finally be available in a Switch game, because that's not available in a Switch game.
Fucking shit, Pokemon. What a waste of space.
Well, and it was interesting how they had like the haircuts and stuff you could give it, but
Alcremie did it better.
Yeah, but the biggest thing about this game, well, the trailer anyway, the trailer ends with the Mega Evolution symbol, and the way
We're
that
back, boys.
Yeah, the Mega Evolutions are back, and the way that it kind of displays that Mega Evolution symbol, it'll probably be like a key focus of the game.
I can't believe people are going to Mega Evolve.
Yeah, finally.
Look, Mega for Alligator is back on the table.
Yeah, Mega Incineroar might be back as well.
What do you mean? We're all holding out for Mega Swampert X, right?
No,
see, we're going to get Mega Charizard Z.
And Mega Charizard A.
Mega Charizard Z and then A through to W.
But yeah, very, very interesting is what it's going to go. It doesn't come out until 2025.
Good.
Which is fucking. It's a 2-parter. It's fantastic. Which means this year and a little bit of last year, I guess, we're the first years where they've skipped releasing a Pokemon game unless they shadow drop something. Like last year they had the DLC for Scarlet and Violet, which would technically be like a third . Like an Emerald or a
Yeah, the DLCs essentially become the third versions, which I think I prefer.
Yeah, I think I prefer it.
I don't want to play the same game again. Having new content to explore is a better ideal.
But it's so expensive for what it is. Like $45 just a fuck, or $60. Anyway, it doesn't matter.
But you'd be paying a full price game for a third version.
It's true, but you get quality of life changes. Anyway,
don't the DLCs come with quality of life changes as well?
Well, they don't come with any extra frames. They come with like
Nvidia's fake frames now.
Yeah, bring those AI frames. Yeah, but so it's interesting that it's coming out in 2025, and guess what? Looks like it's been pushed back till 2025. Skull and Bones 2. No, the Switch 2. So,
oh yeah, let me just go have a stroke real quick.
What's worse than one disappointing game? 2 disappointing games. Yeah, so it wouldn't surprise me, honestly, if this becomes a launch title, because it does say 2025. It doesn't say when 2025. And because there has been no official announcement date of the Switch 2, that could come out January, it could come out December. And knowing what Nintendo does...
The thing is, though, that Pokemon works on its own timeline, so the Switch 2 could have come out this year, and this could have still been an early 2025 game. And just
it could have been, yeah.
Maybe being Switch 1, maybe being cross-gen.
Oh God, I hope it's not fucking cross-gen. But yeah, it could just be like a happy accident.
We already know it's coming to Nintendo Switch, so it's going to be at the very best. Like on a best case scenario, it's cross-gen.
Actually, yeah, it's a very Nintendo thing to do. Like, don't forget, Black and White came out when, like, just as the 3DS came out, I think.
Yeah, but to be fair on that one, it came out a year before in Japan, so that was just like bad delay.
Oh, of course. That's right. Yeah, that's right. I did too. Yeah. Well, even Black 2, White 2 came out on the Nintendo DS. There were extra functionalities.
Yeah.
And remember the DSi? Remember, had some extra functionality with that as well. But it's interesting. They showed us nothing about
this. As we all know, I thought that the best Pokemon game that released in 2022 was Legends Arceus. I preferred that style over what we got in Scarlet and Violet, even if it was just by a little bit. So I am very excited for this because I like the way that Legends is set up. And yeah, like you mentioned, that weird Tron aesthetic is throwing me for a loop. Is it going to be like some sort of future game, but at the same time they've got the sketchbook look, so is it going to be like back and forth between the past and the future? Which makes sense since we just had Scarlet and Violet, which did that as well. But yeah, I'm keen to see where it goes. Legends, I think, is a good gameplay style, and I'm glad that they're exploring it more. But also, it's very weird because with all the setup they did in that Pokemon presentation and all of the teasing over the last couple of months and the second DLC, it's weird we didn't get something Gen 2 or Gen 5 related, which I think they might lean into with this. We might get a lot of Gen 2 and Gen 5 stuff in this game.
I don't know. Switch to Gen 2. Hold on. I'm just thinking.
Pokemon Gold and Silver on. Yeah, but look, realistically, all I do, talking about this gets me excited. We have nothing for it yet. We won't have anything for another 2 or 3 months.
At best.
At best. Apparently in the Japanese trailer, they refer to it as a mainline series game.
Well, yeah, Legends Arceus was considered a mainline game as well.
Yeah, but it was interesting with Legends Arceus is like we're probably too early about this as well. But what I would like to see is I'd like to see a blending of the adventure and the catching from Legends Arceus, but I still, as a VGC connoisseur, I still want that battling there. So what I'm trying to say is I want the battle frontier in Legends Arceus. And then we've got a fucking video game. But who knows? We're in this kind of weird world that we haven't been in since 2015, where like this is the only Pokemon game upcoming, and it's not even coming this year, it's coming next year.
I'm kind of excited on that fact because it means they're giving it time to cook.
It is. And
I'm still backing that they release Palworld, but with Pokemon.
But finally, a fucking good video game. It's also, I never thought they would go away from the yearly releases because the Pokemon company is not a video game company. They are a merchandise and distribution company. And they make a lot of money just selling out new shit.
And the president of that company said, we will keep the same release schedule, but we will increase the quality.
Yeah, and that's oxymoron. So I wouldn't be surprised, honestly, and judging by, like, there's a bunch of leaks going around that there are black and white remakes going on. Whether they've been outsourced to Ilkar or they're being done in-house, they were a bit vague. So honestly, it wouldn't surprise me in the next 6 to 10 months we get a shadow drop of but some sort of drop of a black and white remake. And while we're kind of tied us over for this. Another interesting thing as well, that they seem to be shilling the Pokemon Horizons anime pretty hard as well.
Yeah, it's about to release on Netflix over here, so it's just about to come.
Which is like 6 months after it's been out in Japan, which is fucking insane.
It's weird we still have staggered releases like that.
Yeah. So it wouldn't surprise me if they do release another game sometime in the next 6 to 10 months or by the end of the year or holiday this year, realistically. We might even be in another thing like we were in between 22 and 23, where it was Brilliant Diamond, Shining Pearl in like December and then like Legends Arceus in like January or whatever it was.
That was so fucked.
That was so unhinged. Absolutely fucking rogue. But yeah, like I'm very excited about this game. But at the same time, we have nothing. All I've done for the last 6 or 7 minutes, we're talking about a 1 minute, 57-second trailer. And all I've done is gotten excited. I bring it out.
Let me put a break on that excitement. How are we feeling about that mobile TCG game?
I don't care. I don't care about the fucking card game. I've got cards at home.
Pack opening simulator?
It is pack opening simulator. What the... If I can't open the pack and sniff them, what the fuck's the point?
There is a battle mode, but it looks like it's toned down to be more like more accessible for mobile than it is like mimicking the real TCG. But honestly, my favorite part of the trailer was like the guy's in the middle of a date and he's like, "Oh, hold on, I got packs to open.
I got virtual packs to open. What a fucking Chad.
So you know what's that was my favorite part too. But the great follow up to that is that they then go, oh, but you can trade. So I'm like, oh, he's going to trade with the person across the table. No, he does the trade and it goes to some chick on a bus.
Yeah, I was literally just about to mention that as well because I'm watching the trailer as it's going and it's like, I completely forgot about that part. Like I remembered the part where he's on a date and starts opening packs. I forgot that he doesn't trade with the person in front of him.
Absolute Chad behavior. I will say that the music in the Pokemon trading card game trailer was pretty fucking good.
They're
just
also
like a
doing
poppy-
this weird thing where you can like dive into the artwork of the card, and I'm like, that's neat,
kinda
but
cool.
who cares about that?
Well, it's also how much money you'd have to drop to find a card that you could dive into the artwork of.
True.
Yeah, they're probably only going to do
You
like
dropped
full arts
you
or
dropped
something.
$10 on packs. Oh, you didn't get one. Oh well, GG's.
That'll probably be like a 0.001% drop.
Absolutely, it will.
Well, don't forget, you get 2 free packs a day.
Of cigarettes?
I know, the fucking Pokemon cards, you bastard.
Also in that list, there is a minor update for Pokemon Unite, which I had the great pleasure / displeasure of opening on my phone by accident, but then when it opened, it was like, hey, I need to download a bunch of stuff to make the game go. And I'm like, oh yeah, let's just see what it looks like now. Unrecognizable, honestly.
Was it 20 gigs?
It wasn't 20 gigs. It's not the download size that was crazy. It was the fact that like I was a diehard Season 1 player, right? Made it to the top league, enjoyed just crushing everyone in front of me, even though I mained support. Anyway, made it to the highest rank. I think I knew the menu pretty well, or I think I knew the various systems in the game pretty well. It is unrecognizable now. It's
Really?
like, oh, you want to play Pokemon Unite? How would you like to just give me 17 different types of in-game currency first? Oh, you haven't been here for a while. Would you like to spin this bottle that determines whether or not this child dies? Or like just all this other just random stuff. And it's like, where's the button that just lets me play the game? What happened to that?
What do you mean, play the game?
Yeah, it's crazy. Like I remember there was a window when everyone's like, man, Pokemon Unite has every bad predatory practice of a live service game. And I'm like, yes, can't get away from that. But the underlying game is still fun. I couldn't even be bothered playing the underlying game because my attempt to find it in the menu was 1, ass, and 2, there were so many things of like, oh, you want to play this? Well, actually, you need this ticket to go do this thing. And oh, did you want this battle pass or this battle pass or this battle pass? Or oh, if you go into the store, you can actually claim this thing for free for now. But then if you want to continue using it after the free trial period ends, then that's more in-game currency. And then if you want to play, you could link up with other people if any of your friends are still playing, which I don't think any of mine are. But you can't play this mode or this mode because those are on like rotation. So you can play this one if you'd want, which is a completely foreign, never seen it before in my life mode. And it's just like, what happened to the game? Where did the game go?
So the thing I remember most about Pokemon Unite was that, yeah, that first day specifically was like, you know, yeah, it is predatory, but the underlying game here is fun, like you mentioned. And then day 2 was, oh, you didn't have your mum's credit card number to boost up your stats?
Yeah.
You're fucked.
Yeah.
It was a bit of a pay to win element.
I still remember that video of bloody Charlie himself, Moist Critical, dropping, I think it was like $150 or something on that to just stack up. I don't remember who he was playing.
I think he was playing Marchamp, or he was complaining about Marchamp.
It was Marchamp.
Lucario Machamp,
I was thinking it was Marchamp. And he was literally just standing outside the spawn of the enemy team, just punching kids in the face and winning over and over again. I suspect that game is still in there. It's just now they've wrapped even more premium currency, this battle pass, that give me your lunch money shit around it, which is just sad.
They've got a fairly decent cast of Pokemon as well.
They put the wrong Scarlet and Violet's legendary in there though.
Koraidon's already in a big fella.
Oh, is he?
I'm pretty sure.
I did not know that.
I wouldn't have a clue. I'm sure there are people that are still playing it and they find it fun. Like if you can get past all the predatory shit, then I'm sure there's still people that enjoy the underlying game like I did back in Season 1. The problem is I've been out of it for so long that when I come back, it's not only that the game is different, like, you know, I go and play, say, Dota 2, and I come back and it's like, oh, the menu's changed, or like, oh, this has changed, that changed. But it's still fundamentally the same thing that I know and have a baseline for. I feel like all those hours I put in for Season 1 are meaningless now in terms of just existing in the Pokemon Unite ecosystem. It's crazy how far that thing has evolved. Actually, devolved.
Actually, I don't think there is a Koraidon. But yeah, I'm looking at the tier list now.
From what I'm seeing, it's Miraidon, Koraidon, and Empoleon leaked a few months ago. And
yeah, it is coming out, yeah.
And only Miraidon was announced for now, along with Cerule Edge and Phalanx.
Phalanx is fucking weird, but got some fucking weird Pokemon. You got like Sableye, Wigglytuff. Yeah, I'm looking at a tier list now and fucking
Wigglytuff was good fun. Wigglytuff was one of my mains.
I did okay with Snorlax when I played.
Snorlax good as well. Good choice.
Yeah, I was a Eldegoss, Wigglytuff, Slowbro. Yeah, it was Slowbro. And
God, the roster's gotten so big since launch.
Yeah, no, the roster's giant now. It's crazy. And yeah, the up at the high tippity top of whatever rank I was at before the final Ultra rank. Actually, I think Ultra is a rank. It wasn't that rank. Whatever the second to top one was. Had a win as Eldegoss, and then went into the next game, and someone already locked in support, and I'm like, all right, I guess I'm carrying. Played Cinderace back when Cinderace was like not busted, but like glass cannon, probably still is. I don't know.
Yeah, that's how Zero Aura was as well. I feel like
ranked up, did well. I still never got that really cool Crustle skin, the one where it's like the house on his back.
The fucking skins in it. Every now and then, like I'll just go into Cerebi just to look at the skins. They're fucking fantastic.
Yeah, or Spacesuit Gengar is still pretty cool as well, actually.
Yeah, that's a good one as well, yeah.
Of course, those are all Gen 1s. Those are all Season 1 skins. I got no idea what they look like now.
Look up the skins. Some of them are fucking fantastic. There's like a Samurai Blastoise, I think, that looks pretty cool. They're good.
I remember when they added Blastoise. Anyway, getting sidetracked. So Pokemon news. Pokemon will continue to be Pokemon. A pack simulator if you'd like to increase the speed at which you give Nintendo money. Holy shit. Any final words from either of you two on that?
Nah.
Yeah, I wasn't too keen on the live service stuff, but Pokemon Legends Z to A, I am very excited for.
Finally, Pokemon Z's coming out.
So you're keen for the Zaza.
Pokemon Z's coming out.
With that, we are finally at the end of the news section. Good God.
Yeah.
Short one this week, fellas.
I'm sorry that everything massive happened in a 2-week period between last episode and this episode. Maybe next week there won't be like 3 live streams we have to cover.
Always has been. Anyway, as I say, no audience question, but if you or someone that you know would like to get in touch, then we're available. We're on Blue Sky Social somewhere, whatever the hell that link is. Still don't know anyone that uses that. Facebook, Fast Travel Lounge, X, formerly known as Twitter. There we go, saved it. Fuck you, Steve. At Fast Travel Lounge, minus the L that Riot is taking for Project L, which Saif will go and claim back at some point. Or good old Fast Travel Lounge at gmail.com. I guess we're at the end of episode 107. If you've enjoyed the ginormous conga line of an episode that this one's been, which I feel like I'm saying more and more frequently recently, then any way of feeding back, any likes, any subscriptions, any comments, help us out to spread the degeneracy and love of Krispy Kreme donuts, and that is something we can all get behind. Anyway, until next time, I've been Patrick, I've been joined by Saif and Steve. Thank you so much for listening, and we'll catch you next time. Goodbye.
Happy birthday,
Happy
Pokemon.
birthday, Pokemon. Fuck you, you fucking dog. Happy birthday, leap years.